Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexander Gordon Jahans, and today I have an audiobook recording of my latest distraction fic, written by accident. So let's get this show on the road. By the way, there may be cuts and edits in this, so just so you know. The Toymaker, a distraction fic by Alexander Gordon Jahans. She stepped out of the shadows, tall and elegant in a Victorian ball gown. Her craggy features surveyed the university campus. This was her hunting grounds. She wanted one very specific kind of woman. No, too short, too ugly. Race not ideal. Wrong hair colour. Come on, there! She was average height, skinny, pale and blonde, and utterly absorbed in her phone as she walked. Perfect. The huntress struck. She bustled past on an intercept route, and sure enough, the prey walked into the huntress, dropped her phone, and tripped over her. The huntress caught the phone and swiftly downloaded the contents to her quantum oscillator. The prey got to her feet and apologized. "I'm sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going." "Oh, it's quite all right, dear," said the huntress as she approached her prey. It would be so easy to take her now, to bend her to a whim, but no. Toys were best when given freely. She smiled. "I saved your phone." "Oh, thank God," said her prey, receiving the phone. The huntress smiled politely. "It's no bother. Just look after yourself." The prey nodded, then said, "That's actually a really fancy get-up you've got on. Nice look." The huntress grinned. "Oh, I've travelled a bit." "Well, safe travels. I've got classes. See ya." And with that, the prey turned and walked off. The huntress watched her go and admired the prey's butt in her tight jeans. One day she would be hers. The huntress returned to the shadows. The copy of the prey's phone yielded her name, Lisa Watkins. She was studying to be an architect, and her parents were poor but loving. This was her big break. Poor girl didn't have a proper understanding of just how thoroughly fucked this England's economy was. Another thing that was learned about her prey by cracking into her social media accounts was the type of guy she liked. The huntress used this information to set up some chance encounters until, sure enough, Lisa was dating. The huntress travelled forward by 2 months and checked Lisa's history. A brief fling that had started to become serious until he lost interest and started cheating. The huntress picked her moment and planned her attack. Lisa sat crying outside the nightclub. A friend of hers with purple highlights stood having a smoke. "He's a bastard." Lisa honked as a snot bubble burst on her face. "Bastard! Fucking foul bastard! How could he do this to me? I told you, he's a bastard. They all are." The huntress stepped out of the shadows, laughing. Then she turned at the sound of crying and asked, "What's the matter?" "Her ex is a bastard," said the smoker with the purple hair. "He really is," said Lisa. "I thought we were a proper couple, you know." Huntress nodded solemnly. "Hang on, don't I know you?" Lisa said, "I don't know." Huntress stepped closer, the light of a street lamp illuminating her more fully. "Yeah, I caught your phone." "Oh yeah," said Lisa. "You're the woman with the fancy dress." "You could say that," said the huntress with a smile. "Look, I can't bear to see someone so young upset, so here's an idea. Tomorrow, you and me go travelling." "I couldn't," said Lisa, honestly. "Oh, it's okay. I won't be leaving till 6 in the evening. Just think about it, okay?" said the huntress. "I'll be waiting by the gates of campus until then. I know some sights, and I'll buy you dinner." Lisa smiled incredulously. "Are you coming on to me?" The huntress made a show of looking conflicted before saying, "No, I just know what it means to have a broken heart." Lisa chuckled. "I'll think about it." The huntress pulled out a few notes. "Buy yourself a couple of kebabs and some vodka. Purge that bastard from your life." Lisa stood and took the money from the huntress. "Thank you." Then she paused, looking at that huntress, and how this older woman was clearly concerned for her. "And it's Lisa. What's your name?" I am the Bamkirsch, said the huntress as she looked into Lisa's eyes. I look forward to seeing you there tomorrow. All right, said Lisa. All right, I will come. I'm curious now. The huntress grinned. Be careful. You know what happened to Schrodinger's cat? Lisa laughed. Her friend with the purple hair said irritably, Wasn't that funny? The huntress doffed her hat and strode off into the shadows. The huntress waited from 5 p.m. outside the gates of the university campus. Lisa turned up at 5:45. So you made it then, said the huntress as her prey approached in comfortable but stylish clothes. Lisa said, Well, I feel like shit. Thank you for the idea to get a kebab and vodka anyway. My room smells just amazing at the moment, but I said I would come, and I am curious. Where's your friend? Asked the huntress with curiosity. She couldn't make it, lied Lisa. What's the plan? Well, I thought I might catch a lift to a view, and then I might check out a museum before heading to this restaurant I've heard about. How does that sound? Said the huntress. Lisa shrugged. Sounds good to me. The huntress managed to keep the conversation focused on Lisa, and letting her talk about her life as the cab arrived and took them to the outskirts of town. The huntress got out of the cab first and spoke to the driver. Lisa got out and was blown away by the view. They were by an old aqueduct that spanned a gorge, and across the gorge there was a village that screamed twee. Wow, said Lisa. The huntress nodded appreciatively. It is a good view, isn't it? Yeah, said Lisa, the majesty of the sight blowing her away. But I gather you usually travel further afield. Oh, definitely, said the huntress, but I could hardly bring you along as hand luggage, could I? Lisa snorted. You are definitely flirting with me. The huntress smirked, admiring her prey. Would it bother you if I was? No, said Lisa with a wry smile. I mean, I'm not gay, and I don't think I might, but I'm willing to be convinced. The huntress laughed. Well, don't worry, I'm not going to convince you of anything. Lisa asked, Then why am I out here? And why are you buying me dinner? The huntress sighed. Because I like you, and I want you to be happy. Lisa turned to look at the huntress, intrigued by her words. We met once. Yes, said the huntress, but I was your age once. You've got your whole future ahead of you, and you're just about to step out into the world. It's a frightening time. You can barely see to put one foot in front of the other. So tonight, I want you to be happy. Lisa frowned. A bell chimed and the huntress said, Come on. We've got an appointment to make at her museum. Lisa nodded. Okay. The museum was a children's toy museum, and now Lisa understood. This was not the sort of place you took a date to. It was creepy and kind of boring. But Lisa read the plaques and watched the videos as the Bamkirsch looked about the place with fascination. After a while, an old lady with white curly hair informed them that a special showing was ready. Lisa followed the Bamkirsch and the old lady into a side room where an old balding man stood with a bunch of old Barbie dolls and proceeded to explain the origins and history of the Barbie doll. The Bamkirsch was fascinated, but she also glanced at Lisa now and again and seemed to be checking that she was paying attention, so Lisa would feign interest. At last the talk ended and the Bamkirsch led Lisa out of the shop and into the car. The huntress exited the cab with her prey and approached the restaurant. Lisa had paid attention to the exhibits and the talks. She would be ready. She could understand. This wasn't about convincing her. This was about explaining exactly what the huntress wanted with Lisa so that she would be able to come willingly when the huntress asked her to. The waiter showed them to their reserved table, and the huntress waited until their drinks had arrived and they had ordered food to begin explaining. The huntress took a sip of wine and said, I want to tell you a story, Lisa. It might seem weird and nonsensical, but it's important that you listen to what I have to say. Lisa smiled. Okay, I've been waiting for this. Go on, I'm listening. So, in the beginning, shit was bad. It was chaos, anarchy. There was no order. But there was the idea of order, of logic. It emerged as echoes of an earlier anomaly and formed long, grotesque chains. Some of these chains became knotted and matted until things started to grow on it over time. A few of these knotted chains developed sentience. After all, there was no order to say that this was impossible, said the huntress. Two of these knots of sentient logic became friends, and they were both mad. But something happened. I mean, they were both mad and wild and free and powerful, and then this woman died and her soul incarnated in the nothingness. One of the knots decided to take pity on the woman and ate her soul. The knot saw the logic of the woman and realized it loved this thing and wanted to be like her. It wanted that form. It wanted to take care of things like that. It also saw that it was not of the gender of the woman, and so became, in his soul, a he. The huntress paused to take a sip of wine and studied Lisa. She was fascinated. The he knot met with the other knot and introduced a knot to the idea of humanity and gender and sex, and the knot that had no gender shrugged and said, "You are my friend. If you are a man and you see yourself as different from women, then I must also be a man." And so the two men ravished the fledgling multiverse, growing more and more human with each soul they ate. But as they played, they realized that they each approached humanity differently. The knot that had become a man first had met humanity at its best and most humble, so he wanted to protect it, to look after it. The other knot saw humanity as so inferior as to not be worth caring about. He approached humanity as a means to have fun with his old friend, and came to understand in the language of humanity that made them his toys. Except the more he learned and matured, the more he came to understand that humans were as sentient as he and his old friend. They were not toys, but he could still play with them. He could make them his toys. He was the Toymaker. The huntress finished telling her story. Lisa was utterly engrossed. "I think I see now why you wanted to see that museum and listen to that talk." The huntress grinned. "I'm glad you understand," Lisa said enthusiastically. "It's an interesting story. Good luck with it." The huntress stared at Lisa in confusion, but Lisa didn't notice as the waiter arrived with their meals. They ate in silence. When they'd each cleared their plates, the huntress said, "Lisa, I didn't just bring you here so I could tell you my story." "No?" asked Lisa, wondering what else the night entailed then. The huntress removed her business card from her purse and slid it across the table. Lisa examined it. Bamkirsch, Toymaker, and adventurer. She looked up at the huntress. "What are you trying to say?" The Toymaker and his friend were caught and tried and executed. Naturally, both survived by virtue of being manipulative as heck, but there was a complication. Their souls were taken by champions and implanted in the bodies of stillborn children to give them another chance, said the huntress. My friend had further complications, but I developed alongside my host, and I realized I was never really a man. I was just playing at being one to be with my mate, and we, that is, me and my host, grew as one, unified under my true name. Lisa, I am the Bamkirsch, and I am the Toymaker. Lisa laughed nervously. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you, said the Bamkirsch. I want to play with you. I want to make you into my little toy, and I needed to know you understood what that meant. The colour drained from Lisa's face. Are you going to kill me? No, said the Bamkirsch honestly. And today was not about convincing you of anything. I could make you mine without you ever having a chance to say no, but consent is kind of a big deal. This is me giving you your first chance to walk away. If I see you again, I will start to remake you. I will ask you 3 more times after tonight if you really want to do this. But I warn you, it will be harder to say no each time. Of course you can say no at any point. Well, almost any point, but I'm good, so don't count on it. If you have any doubts, act on them. Say no and walk away. I won't be offended. Lisa stared at the Bamkirsch and mentally passed the day's events. The flirting, the toy museum, the lecture on Barbie dolls, and the way Bamkirsch had kept looking at her. Ah, said Lisa as realization dawned. She was skinny and blonde and sitting across from a Toymaker who wanted to turn her into a toy and had watched her carefully when she'd listened to the lecture on the origins and history of a toy that was a blonde, skinny woman. Lisa swallowed. Oh, okay. So you want to make me into a doll? Blanca shook her head. I want to bend your will and body to my commands. You will think when I let you do as I say, and if I hurt you, you will let me. You will love every single moment of your life as my toy, but you will be a commodity, a plaything, and unable to complain. I will drug you, I will alter your biology, I will brainwash you. Understand that I am not like my friend the Farshnook. I have no love for my toys. I do not want to care for you. I respect you right now, Lisa, because you are not yet my toy. The moment you are, you will cease to have any rights. You should leave and say no. You should run out of the door. Lisa nodded in agreement. I should. I really should. The waiter arrived and the Bamkirsch asked for the bill. Lisa said, so, if I am okay with this, okay with being your toy, I phone this number? Yes, said the Bamkirsch. I will find you, and I will remake you. And I will have 3 more prompts to go, clarified Lisa. Yes, said the Bamkirsch, but if you ask for me, it's probably already too late for you. Okay, said Lisa, and she put the business card into her purse, took a cab home with the Bamkirsch. Lisa never saw the Bamkirsch from that point onwards. University gave her hope and deadlines and friends, kept her distracted, gave her a life to live. So Lisa lived. She worked hard, played hard, and graduated with a 2-2. Then reality hit. Just get a job was the mantra. Well, Lisa couldn't get a job and her family needed money. So Lisa lay awake at night thinking about the offer the Bamkirsch had given her. Lisa was a fly that had been asked to land in a spider's web. Of course she could say no. Of course she'd said no at the time. She wasn't stupid, but curiosity works its way quietly, and there was an incentive to say yes. Bamkirsch had money, and she would offer Lisa 3 chances to turn back. The danger, of course, was the knowledge that once the Bamkirsch started having her way with Lisa, it would be harder to say no. This was asking the devil for a favour. No, this was worse. The devil paid for his goods. To the Bamkirsch, Lisa was a tree being asked to willingly enter a lumber yard, and there would be no payment because why pay the product? And yet, 3 chances. That worked away in Lisa's subconscious as benefits became the way to live, and then they stopped. A benefit sanction because an email hadn't arrived and Lisa hadn't known she needed to be somewhere. She pulled out the business card and dialed the number. The Bamkirsch stepped out of the shadows, regal as ever. It was 4 a.m. and Lisa was in a nightie. Lisa's mouth dropped open in shock. What are you doing here? How can you be here? Bamkirsch smiled. My dear, I can do many things that will surprise you, and as we have established, I do not care for your rights. I am not a nice person, Lisa Watkins. Lisa studied the Bamkirsch. This is you being kind, isn't it? Warning me away. Well, I have no choice. I know, said the Bamkirsch, studying Lisa's room, all the shelves with dolls and computery things. Let's be honest, I'm good at what I do. I do not offer my toys a chance to walk away if I'm not certain they will walk into my arms willingly later. This is a calculated ballet to make my job easier. Lisa swallowed. Do I have any free will or choice over what happens? Yes, said the Bamkush simply, and that's why you will be worth so much when I'm done with you. Lisa shuddered. The Bamkush nodded at Lisa's understanding of the situation. So, let me guess, you graduated university and found that a recession caused by neoliberal politics is not a fun place to be when your family's poor and the benefit system is a death trap. Pretty much, said Lisa with a shrug. And you think that I offer you a chance, said the Bamkush. You do realise the dangerous game you are playing? Lisa nodded solemnly. I am walking willingly into your parlour. Indeed, said the Bamkush. I will help you and your family out, though. Enough money will be transferred into your bank accounts for everyone to live comfortably for a while. Then the Bamkush pulled a typed-up note from pocket and handed it to Lisa. Find me there tomorrow, and we can begin to remake you. You don't have to come, of course, but you will. You've still got your 3 chances, and you're curious. Lisa accepted the note and read it. When she looked back, the Bamkush was gone. The next morning, Lisa walked into town and checked out her bank account at an ATM. Then she caught a train into London. The Bamkush's apartment looked innocuous enough, so Lisa rang the doorbell. The Bamkush answered immediately. You came, she said, surprised. Lisa shrugged. For that much money? Yeah, I came. Well, come in, said the Bamkush, and she led the way inside. There was a short corridor, lined with golf clubs, umbrellas, and cricket bats, and then there was a large empty room, with a large storage chest against one side of the room. An elegant and ornate double bed further up, several freestanding clothes racks filled with outfits, and a large white table covered in plastic sheeting. On the other side of the room was a kitchen, a laboratory lined with beakers and complex equipment, and then mushroom-shaped 7-sided console. Interesting place you've got here, said Lisa. You live here now, said the Bamkush, so I'm glad you like it. The left side of the room is your side, the right side is my side. Lisa studied the left side of the room with fresh interest as the Bamkush explained. The bed and wardrobe is obvious, but the chest is your destiny. If I have done my job correctly, there will be a day when you walk in that door, I beat you until I get tired and throw you in that chest, and you will gladly lay there where I throw you. Lisa swallowed. The Bamkush indicated the table, and that is for when I want to pull you apart. You won't die, of course, and you'll like it when I do, and you'll like what I do, but it's imperative that you understand the kind of woman I am and the kind of life you will lead. Lisa nodded. Well, thank you for the honesty. Now, before I get down to the meat of today, I think I need to show you something, said the Bamkush. Lisa shrugged. She doubted anything could surprise her now. The Bamkush headed over to the console. This apartment, Lisa, is a ship. It can travel time, space, and the multiverse, and now we are going to make you fall in love with the man who broke your heart and left you vulnerable to my invitation of dinner. Lisa was stunned. You can't be serious. I need to demonstrate my power to you, and what better way to ensure he falls for you than have you declare your undying love and loyalty to him, said the Bamkush. Lisa stared at her. I can't. The Bamkush shrugged. For now, you have agency. You can say no. There was a loud bong, and the Bamkush pulled the lever, making the apartment door swing open. Lisa heard dubstep and approached the open door. It was dark and loud, and everyone was drinking or coming on to people. Lisa entered the club. How could she not? It was a miracle. Lisa walked through the club in a daze until she saw her ex, still so young. She found herself staring. He caught her eye and started to make his way towards her. Lisa froze. She didn't know what to do. She hated this man. He broke her heart, except if the Bamkush was to be believed, he hadn't yet. He was still the man Lisa had fallen in love with. He found her and took her hands. Do I know you? No, said Lisa. I'm not supposed to be here. We haven't met, but Lisa stared at his face, at those lips, and sighed. Fuck it. This is crazy, and I probably won't remember this, but I had such a massive crush on you, and if you remember this, come find me and ask me out. And then she kissed him on the lips. Oh, he said. Well, I think we can do better than that. He gently pulled Lisa close, and they embraced each other as they started snogging. Then Lisa broke off. Probably better stop there. Alcohol, you know. Good point, said her ex. Lisa strode off back to the Bamkirch, knowing that he would be watching her ass as she walked away. Lisa entered and shut the door behind her. Strip, said the Bamkirch, experimentally. Lisa shrugged off her jacket and started undoing the buckle on her belt before she caught herself and asked, why? Just testing, said the Bamkirch with a smile. I didn't seriously expect you to obey me, but it pleases me that you did. Lisa bent down to pick up her jacket, then frowned and left it. The Bamkirch didn't care. Lisa said, okay, so you can travel in time. What next? I want to run some tests, take measurements, collect samples, that kind of thing, said the Bamkirch. Okay, said Lisa, I can do that, but no messing me about, yeah. No injecting me with shit. Not today, said the Bamkirch. I need to collect data first before I can make any of that. Lisa nodded. Okay, I get that. I'm cool with that. The Bamkirch headed over to her laboratory, as she said, you know you can stop saying okay, right? There are other words. Okay, said Lisa, and she followed the Bamkirch over to the laboratory. The Bamkirch opened a clear plastic bag and slipped some of Lisa's hair inside before cutting it and sealing the bag. Lisa asked, so what are you going to do with this stuff? The Bamkirch held up a swab with her right hand and grabbed Lisa's face with her left hand and said, Lisa opened her mouth. The Bamkirch proceeded to wipe the cotton swab around the inside of her mouth. I'm going to sequence your DNA so I can target drugs to rewrite it as I see fit. And of course, if I'm happy with the finished toy, I may want to mass produce you. I'm getting skin, hair, and muscle samples so I can grow it in the lab and experiment on it. The Bamkirch dropped the swab into a special test tube filled with liquid, then followed the same process with another 6 swabs. The measurements are so I know what size your clothes should be and the rough dimensions of the packaging if I do mass produce you. Lisa let the Bamkirch finish swabbing, then she asked, do I get any say? Of course, said the Bamkirch, as she took Lisa's blood pressure, but if I have done my job right, you will agree with everything I say. There is always an outside chance you'll say no and walk away, and I factor that into my calculations, and you should always be very enthusiastic with whatever I plan. Lisa couldn't get her head around the concept. So I will love everything you're going to do, but that's a problem because you're ensuring that I love everything you're going to do. The Bamkirch noted down Lisa's blood pressure, then readied herself to take Lisa's blood. Everything I am doing is calculated to make you utterly willing. I have studied you, spied on you, I am using you. I seem nice and convivial because that's what people do and that's how I get you to be so willing. But please do not make the mistake of Please do not mistake me for being some grand philanthropist. Now I'm going to take your blood, so you might want to look away. The Bamkirch inserted a needle into a vein in Lisa's left arm. Some plasters were attached to hold the needle in place, and the Bamkirch filled up 6 test tubes with Lisa's blood. Lisa watched silently, then asked, does it really matter why or how you're doing this if I'm going to enjoy this? I mean, the alternative is dying a lonely death of starvation and poverty. The Bamkirch stopped and stood up straight so that she could look Lisa in the eye. If that is why you are doing this, then things need to change. I want you to really want to do this, not to do it because the government scares you more than me. Lisa said, I thought you didn't care what I thought. I don't, said the Bamkirch. She fetched a scalpel, a plaster, and a couple of petri dishes. I care about the product, and the product is best if you are earnestly willing. We're going to have to get you a job. The Bamkirch grabbed hold of Lisa's right arm, carefully removed a small section of skin and placed it in one petri dish. Then she sliced off a part of the muscle in her arm and put it in the other petri dish. Then she applied small plaster to the wound on Lisa's arm and set about storing the skin and muscle cell samples to be grown later. Lisa asked, you're going to get me a job. How? I'm turning you into a toy. Getting you a job is infinitely easier, and besides, it won't be for long. What's your dream job? Said the Baumkirche as she emerged with measuring tape and proceeded to take down Lisa's height, bus size, and so on. Well, if you must know, city planner. I want to design the city of the future, said Lisa. The Baumkirche sighed as she took notes of the measurements. This is really quite a smart profession to want to go into. I'm almost envious. Might have to keep note of that. It could be very handy if I ever decide to take over the world. Lisa snorted in astonishment. It's not seriously something you do, is it? The Baumkirche shrugged as she measured Lisa's neck size. I've thought about it, and I bet I'd be quite a good empress. So many worlds are crying out for a strong state to regulate capitalism and care for the poor. I could do that. Lisa frowned. I was nearly on board as being your toy for a moment there, but now I know you want to take over the world. Good, said the Baumkirche, backing away the tape. Consider this your first warning. Go away, you've got your money now. You'll have a job, live your life, Lisa, and forget about me. Forget about the strange woman who wants to turn you into a toy. Lisa nodded. Okay, I think you're right. If I don't call you or visit, don't be upset. Go, bellowed the Baumkirche. Lisa ran out of the apartment, pausing only to pick up her discarded jacket on the way out. Lisa returned home and lived off the money in her bank account for a week. Then she received a phone call offering her an interview for a job as an architect of a new council estate. Lisa threw herself into her work and saw the project to fruition. But when she did, she realised something. It was 4 a.m. and she was staggering through town with her mates to celebrate after a night of drinking. They passed a kebab joint and Lisa's belly grumbled, so they got kebabs and stayed drinking until they passed out at Lisa's mates. Lisa woke up the next day feeling like shit and stared at the kebab wrapper and realised this was her future. Late nights and shitty kebabs at 4 a.m. until some nice man marries her and she decides to settle down in the country and have kids and in a pension and retirement cruises, and it all sounded so boring. She wanted it, or at least she had been told by society that was what people wanted, but it didn't excite her, it didn't thrill her, it was good work she enjoyed, and it wasn't a bad life. But as she stared at that kebab wrapper, she remembered the Baumkirche. How this strange-looking woman had stepped out of the shadows when she'd been crying, invited her to dinner, and gave her money for kebabs. How the Baumkirche had used her to make her ex ask her out so the Baumkirche could sweep along and be her enigmatic saviour. That confidence, that swagger, that edge of danger. In the Baumkirche's mind, Lisa was already her toy. She offered Lisa choices and respected her free will and feelings, but it was like a nerd coaxing a computer to load. Warm and emotion hiding cold knowledge. The hair stood up on the back of Lisa's neck as she thought about the Baumkirche. That power and intense belief that Lisa would in time be absolutely willing to do anything the Baumkirche wanted. What was it she'd said? That one day Lisa would be happy to walk through the door and be beaten up, stripped and thrown. That the Baumkirche would dissect Lisa for fun and Lisa would enjoy it. This was so sick and so fucked up, but the Baumkirche was so confident it scared her and thrilled her. That this person could have so much power over her. She would return to work and everything would be okay. She could settle down and have kids. The Baumkirche answered the door. What kept you? Lisa laughed. May I come in? Of course, said the Baumkirche, and as she led Lisa inside. Lisa studied the weapons as she walked down the hallway, and knew that she was heading down the path that would see them used against her, and it thrilled her. So, I was thinking, this is a multiverse ship, right? You've already travelled in time, so I believe you, and that means there will always be a universe where I continue my job as a city planner and get a 2.4 children and a house in the country, and there will always be a universe where I become your toy, said Lisa. The Bamkirsch nodded. Tea or coffee? Coffee, said Lisa. Black. The Bamkirsch headed to the kitchen and started making coffee. Lisa followed and said, I figure I want to live my dream of being a city planner, and I will, and I know what it's like, but I don't know what it's like to become your toy, and I'd like to, because god damn it, you make me feel alive, and so fucking what if I'm not living a normal life? I want to know how I will become your toy, and if I'm going to be happy, what's the problem? Bamkirsch handed Lisa a mug of coffee with a smug smile on her face. Lisa grinned. So what happens? How do I become yours? Bamkirsch took her tea over to the bed. Lisa followed. They sat down on the bed and Lisa sipped her coffee. The Bamkirsch said, We need to establish trust and control. You will, in time, come to instinctively obey me without question, but first you need to give me control. Lisa nodded. Like how? Like, I will ask you a series of questions, and you will consent with that question, said the Bamkirsch. It's okay to say no if you're uncomfortable. The important thing is that we establish a record of obedience. Lisa frowned. I don't know, seduce me into obedience. Bamkirsch laughed. My friend is very fond of that method, and it is because of it that he frequently ends up a moralist. I need you to calmly decide that obeying me is what you want to do first. Lisa downed her coffee and said, Okay, what shall I do first? The Bamkirsch pulled a tennis ball out of her pocket and threw it at the chest. Fetch. Lisa snorted. At once, mistress, and returned with the ball. The Bamkirsch was standing now, her drained cup on the bedside table. She accepted the tennis ball and pocketed it. Remove your shoes and socks, said the Bamkirsch. Lisa raised her eyebrows, but she sat on the bed, undid her shoelaces, pulled off her shoes and her socks. Then she stood before the Bamkirsch. What now? The Bamkirsch smiled. I would like to strip you naked. Lisa smiled knowingly. I am yours to unwrap. The Bamkirsch snorted and removed Lisa's jacket. Lisa's shirt was pulled off next, and then her bra was removed. The Bamkirsch's hands unbuckled Lisa's belt and unbuttoned her jeans. Her finger and thumb paused on the zip. Lisa looked the Bamkirsch in the eyes and nodded her on. The hairs were standing up on the back of Lisa's neck, and she felt butterflies of excitement and fear. The Bamkirsch smiled and pulled the zip down. She slid the jeans down Lisa's arse, and they fell to the floor. She grabbed Lisa's underwear. Lisa was quavering with excitement now. The Bamkirsch pulled Lisa's knickers down her arse and let them drop to the floor. Lisa kicked the trousers and knickers away from her feet. Do you like what you see? The Bamkirsch nodded. I chose you very deliberately, Lisa. I am pleased to see that my judgment was sound. Now stay here. I have to get something. Lisa nodded. The Bamkirsch returned with a cricket bat and a golf club. Lisa stared at the sports implements and swallowed. The Bamkirsch said, I want to hit you. Once in the face, once in the ass. You're perfectly safe. I'm not about to let you die when I've not even made you into a toy. But it will hurt. A lot. Are you okay with this? Lisa swallowed. I trust you. The Bamkirsch smiled. Thank you. The Bamkirsch raised the golf club before Lisa and pulled back. She swung with ferocity and Lisa blinked. The club stopped an inch before Lisa's face, then lightly booped her nose. Lisa breathed a sigh of relief, then swore as the cricket bat smacked into her arse and launched her into the footboard of the double bed. Lisa panted and swore. The Bamkirsch stroked Lisa's back. Well done. I'm proud of you. Lisa stood up. Don't do that again. At least not until you've messed with my capacity to feel pain, okay? The Bamkirsch nodded. That was very brave, and don't worry, I think I should be able to start messing with your body tomorrow. For now, I have one last request. Lisa looked the Bamkirsch in the eye. She was still in pain, and there had been a sense of escalation to the requests. If the Bamkirsch had anything else she planned, Lisa wanted her to have to look Lisa in the eye to ask for it. Go ahead. I want you to climb into the toy box and stay there until I let you out, said the Bamkush. There won't be a lock on it, but I want you to pack yourself away and wait for my return. Lisa laughed. That's all? That's all, said the Bamkush. Lisa grinned as she opened the box and climbed inside. She lay down inside the box and the Bamkush said, Sweet dreams, Lisa. I'll be back in a bit. The lid closed, and now Lisa understood that this was indeed escalation. Lying awake in something not much bigger than a coffin with no light and nothing to do. Lisa felt pressure on her left cheek, stroking, and a voice said softly, Hey, sleepyhead, time to come out of the toy box. Lisa opened her eyes and looked up at the Bamkush. Lisa smiled. Hey, you're back. Bamkush nodded. And you've been a good little toy, haven't you, my dear? But come on, I'm buying you lunch. Lisa nodded and tried to move, but her body ached and felt sluggish. The Bamkush understood and pulled Lisa up into a sitting position. Lisa blinked and shook her head and arms to clear the grogginess. Lisa climbed to her feet and said, So, do I go like this, or... The Bamkush chuckled and handed her a bag. Put those on. Lisa said, So, are you going to watch me, or what? The Bamkush was still chuckling as she strode off and explained, You aren't the only toy I came here to get. Lisa got dressed in the emerald green bikini, pink skirt, crop top, and flip-flops. Then she climbed out of the toy box and headed off after the Bamkush. Lisa found the Bamkush with her head in the cupboard. What's this? The Bamkush backed out of the cupboard and turned to see Lisa holding a collar. Oh, that's right. You don't know, do you? Lisa stared at her. Know what? Well, my friend, he's sort of powerful. Like his followers are protecting the multiverse, and now there's this thing called the United Civilizations of the Multiverse, said the Bamkush. Your friend being the knot that wanted to look after people, said Lisa. Well, yes, but he does that by keeping them as pets, said the Bamkush. They're actually recognised as a different species. They're called seals and they get all these rights. Ah, said Lisa, frowning. The Bamkush nodded and stroked Lisa's cheek. What I'm doing to you is sort of against inter-universal law. Lisa said, But I'm a consenting adult. The Bamkush chuckled and kissed Lisa's forehead. You're wonderful, but you're mine, and that is very much illegal. That collar is so they'll think you're myself. Lisa frowned. And your toy is illegal? Yes, at least the way I want you to be is, said the Bamkush, and then she secured the collar around Lisa's neck. Lisa was silent after that. The knowledge that this woman's behaviour was illegal in the multiverse and that some would see her as a victim was troubling. The Bamkush found what she needed and said, Stick close to me and obey only me, understand? I know you're feeling very malleable, and that's good. I want to remake you, but you are mine and mine alone to remake. With that, Lisa followed the Bamkush out of the door. The restaurant was posh and seemingly candlelit, but far too bright for that. Lisa saw cyborg sharks and cat people and Spielberg-type dinosaurs in dinner jackets, spiders the size of cars, octopus men, and a lot of women wearing collars. The human waiter asked for their drinks. The Bamkush ordered some champagne. Lisa asked, What are all these things? The Bamkush glared at her. You are a thing. These are people. Lisa frowned. Okay, I'm sorry. Who are these people? The Bamkush sighed. The sharks are Karithi. They owe their ability to walk on land and communicate to the Ublotnik, the octopus men. The cat people are Felis sapiens. Don't think about how they came about. The dinosaurs are Humanalastae, and they have a very complex class-based society. You fit in well there. The spiders are arachnoforms, and yes, they are every bit as terrifying as they look, and the women wearing collars are sylphs. The waiter brought over the menu. Bamkush said, She'll have the chicken salad and jacket potato. I'll have the steak. The waiter nodded, then looked to Lisa. Lisa shrugged. She's the boss. The waiter nodded and left. The Bamkirsch grinned and poured the champagne into the provided glasses. A toast to you, my dear. Lisa accepted the glass of champagne and asked, what for? No one has accepted my command so readily. No one has ever stayed in the toy books. You're ready. Lisa grinned. So I'm your toy now. Not yet, but your mind is, said the Bamkirsch. And then she pulled out a strange-looking gun. To that end, I want a backup of it. Just grab the handle and press record. Lisa naturally did as the Bamkirsch said and asked, so what will you do once you're done with me? The Bamkirsch thought for a second and said, I think I want to build up a product line and bring it to market. I thought you said this was illegal, said Lisa. The Bamkirsch nodded. But I have my eyes on a prize that will let me get away with this, and that's actually why we're here. You are my proof of concept. The gun binged. Backed up, said the Bamkirsch with a smile. Lisa smiled. I'm glad you're happy. Bamkirsch stroked Lisa's face. I really think I'm going to have to keep you now. Lisa frowned. Well, what else were you going to do with me? Bamkirsch shrugged. Sell you. Lisa glared at her. Bamkirsch laughed. You're a toy. I make you, but you're always going to be sold to someone else. Lisa fell silent, sulking. The Bamkirsch sighed and sipped her champagne. The waiter arrived with the food. The Bamkirsch had a massive plate of steak, chips, side salad and sauces. Lisa's plate was more modest, and she finished swiftly. She sat looking at the Bamkirsch as she ate and wondered idly if toys did eat. Do toys even live? Or what? The Bamkirsch was going to stuff her? A tall blonde woman in a three-piece suit and a cyborg shark walked past. Lucy Dance, called the Bamkirsch amid her eating. The tall woman stopped at the table. Yes? The Bamkirsch wiped her mouth clean with a serviette. My name is the Bamkirsch, and I am here to offer you a deal. The tall woman stared at the mad woman in the Victorian dress. The cyborg shark gave the girl in easy-to-remove clothing a worried look and advised, Lucy, I don't like this. His pet is like you. Lucy looked at the girl too now and said, It's okay, Greta, the Bamkirsch won't try anything. I'm too important. Then Lucy looked to the Bamkirsch again. So what's this deal? Take a seat, said the Bamkirsch. Lucy nodded and pulled up a seat beside Lisa. Greta pulled up a chair beside the Bamkirsch. The Bamkirsch gestured to Lisa. I have a product I want to sell, and I want more product. Lucy studied Lisa and stroked her back. Yes, I thought she didn't look like a typical sylph. She's too stiff and the collar doesn't look right on her. It's because she isn't a sylph, said the Bamkirsch. For now she is 100% human, but her mind is mine. Tomorrow I will make the biological alterations, but you can see that she is entirely consenting. This is what I do, Lucy. I make people into toys. And what are you offering in return? Asked Lucy. Me, said the Bamkirsch. The Farshnook is a efficient weapon, but his morality and libido holds him back. He is fueled by lust and rage. I am cold. I understand from a logical point of view that people are living and sentient, that they deserve to be treated with respect and looked after. But I have no morality. I have no rage. Well, no, I do, but it's reserved for him. So what are you suggesting? Asked Lucy. That I throw you on the front lines? No, said the Bamkirsch. Septagnoids could corrupt me far easier than they could corrupt the Farshnook. I'm saying let me grow the united civilizations of the multiverse. Let me be your Napoleon. Lucy stared at her. I know my Earth history, Bamkirsch. I'm not letting you be emperor. The Bamkirsch grinned. But I could be so useful to you, don't you think? Empires rise and fall, emperors get assassinated. What matters is that you win the war. When you have enough strength to give the Logicios enough of a kicking that they stop being arseholes. I can help you do that. And as I say, I just want to be able to sell my goods. Try her out if you don't believe me. Lucy grinned. Okay. If she's as willing as you say, then we might turn a blind eye. Her hairs stood up on the back of Lisa's neck. Be gentle with her, said the Baumkirch with a note of warning in her voice. She's almost ready to hit the market. Don't break her. Greta laughed. You should be careful that we don't break you. The Baumkirch chuckled and went back to eating her steak. Lisa rose from her seat and walked away with Lucy and Greta. Lucy and Greta found a table for two out of the way, but still in sight of the Baumkirch. Lucy whispered in Lisa's ear, We can talk freely, but this needs to look legit. Sit on the table and trust me. Lisa backed on the table and said, What do you want to talk about? Lucy lifted up Lisa's left arm and made a show of examining it as she explained, I'm a sylph. I am no stranger to the elder gods. That thing sitting at the table is not human. It has no sense of internal morality. The Farshnug hates the Baumkirch for its immorality. It is not good. Lisa said, and your point is, I'm a toy. I know it's strange, but that's why I'm doing this. Live a life less ordinary, you know. Greta hissed. The Baumkirch may well be treating you with respect now, but that is because you are still human. You break easily. The moment you are fully converted, the Baumkirch will see no value in you. I know, said Lisa. He's going to beat me up and throw me around like a rag doll and pull me apart for fun, and I'm going to love it. Lucy said, I'm going to turn you over now, okay? Lisa said, you don't have to ask me for permission, you know. Lucy rolled her eyes and lay Lisa flat on her back, then rolled her over. She made a show of lifting up her clothes to take a closer look at Lisa. The Baumkirch is going to mass produce and sell you. You will cease to be a person and will be legally property. You won't have any rights. Lisa said, Give me rights then. I'm her proof of concept to convince you to let her bring me to market. You can be my advocate. Make sure I am protected as you would like me to be. Lucy said, I have 2 wars to coordinate. I don't have time to legislate on toy rights. Lisa said, then approved the deal. Let the Baumkirch do what she wants with me. Lucy rolled Lisa back onto her belly and said, You are arguing to deny your own agency. Lisa said, I'm hers. If she wants to deny me agency, I trust her. Lucy glared at Greta. Well, I think you have certainly provided proof of concept, Lisa. Now, before we deliver you to your mistress, I would like a picture with you. Lisa grinned. I would be happy to. Lucy laughed. Come on, off the table. Lisa pulled herself off the table and Lisa got up to stand beside her. And Lucy got up to stand beside her. Greta pulled out her phone and snapped off a couple of flashes. Get the drinks in, said Lucy, and she walked back to the Baumkirch with Lisa. The Baumkirch ate the last of her steak as they approached. You've certainly done an impressive job with Lisa here, and she is very beautiful. She'll make an excellent collector's item, said Lucy. Lisa grinned. The Baumkirch wiped her mouth clean and said, I'm glad you approve. I'm afraid, however, I cannot let you work without oversight, said Lucy. You may finish your work with this one, but you cannot mass produce her until I've sent someone to meet with you regarding the finer legal details. The Baumkirch nodded. That is fair. You know, I had all sorts of backup plans laid out in case you decided to try and stop me. I know, said Lucy. And she put an arm around Lisa protectively. This one thinks she has free will, but if she ever tried to do anything you disapprove of, you would make her change your mind. The Baumkirch grinned. How very astute of you. The mind binds us more thoroughly than any prison. Lisa wants to obey, and thus no bindings could alter that. I wonder if someday you and I might. Lucy laughed. Take your toy and go. I am technically the unleasher, you know. The Baumkirch chuckled and rose from her seat. Settle the bill for me, won't you? With that, the Baumkirch walked off, and Lisa followed. When they were back in the apartment, the Baumkirch turned to Lisa and said, Honey, you've been very good to me, and I want dearly for us to continue our work on you. The Baumkirch squeezed Lisa's hands compassionately. You are so beautiful and so sweet and so very obedient, but it is time for us to say goodbye. When I next see you, I will drug you. This is your second chance to turn away. I suggest you take it because the next chance I give you will be almost too late. Say goodbye, Lisa. One way or another, the human will be gone when we next meet. Lisa nodded. I understand. I will say goodbye, Baumkirch. Until we meet again. The Baumkirch nodded. Until we meet again. The Baumkirch went to the console, and after a few moments the apartment door swung open to real busy London. Lisa stood framed in a doorway and felt nervous about returning to the outside world again. The Baumkirch placed Lucy's jacket about her shoulders. Remember, you obey only me, and you are only my toy. Let others think you are still a person. Lisa felt stronger at those words. The Baumkirch handed Lisa her shoes and socks. Now go. Lisa nodded and strode out the door into London. Lisa felt weird as she walked through London. She didn't feel human anymore. She felt like at any moment she could be carried away and taken away from her life. That she was weak and vulnerable. This was naturally true, but London was a place where it didn't matter how you looked or felt. People would leave you alone, at least so long as you stuck to the crowds. Lisa made it to Waterloo Station all right and managed to catch a train home, except it didn't feel like home. Not anymore. The Baumkirch had said goodbye to her, and Lisa could certainly go back to her old life. She was still human, she still had money and a good job, and she knew now what the Baumkirch was doing to her was very definitely illegal. But they both knew that Lisa wasn't being sent home to say goodbye to the Baumkirch. She was committed now, whatever the future held, however dark it got. Lisa had picked her path. She was going to be a toy, and while she was still human, while she could still think for herself and act independently of supervision, she would say goodbye to her family and friends. She decided suicide made the most sense, the way to bring closure to her family and friends, so she wrote letters for everyone and made sure to spend one last happy day with everyone, whilst also seeding the signs that would be backed up by her suicide notes and letters. They had to be able to grieve and move on with their lives, however much it hurt. It was from one friend Lisa decided to tell the truth to, though. Lisa turned up at her work. She was working at a pub. She wasn't smoking anymore, and the highlights were gone from her hair, but she was just as tall and weather-beaten as Lisa remembered, only she was happier. Lisa said, "I'll have a vodka and coke, please." She turned to address Lisa and gasped, "I haven't seen you since university." "It's been a while," Nikki said, Lisa, "and I've got quite the story to tell you." Nikki nodded and slid the vodka and coke to Lisa. "It's on the house. Well, on me, actually, but I'm not turning you away. My shift ends in half an hour. Think you can wait?" Lisa laughed, remembering the hours in the dark of the Baumkirch's toy box. "I think I can manage." Nikki smiled. "Well, I'm glad to see you again." Lisa nodded and smiled. Then she found a seat and watched the punters go by. This was the last loose end of Lisa's life to tie up, assuming, of course, that the Baumkirch finished the job and didn't chicken out at the last minute. It was nice to see where her old friend worked. To see her in action. She seemed happy. Lisa liked that. Nikki stopped by with a plate of chips. "You look thin as a rake. Eat." Lisa laughed, picked up a chip, and stared at Nikki. "You're amazing, you know that." And then she ate the chip. Nikki smirked and went back to the job. Lisa demolished the plate of chips, and it was empty by the time Nikki finished her shift. "Do you have any plans?" asked Lisa. "None that can't be moved for you," said Nikki. Lisa grinned and led the way out of the pub. "I've got somewhere I want to go. Fill me in on what I've missed." Nikki shrugged and followed Lisa as she started talking. Lisa heard about how Nikki had scraped through with a third in graphic design. done some TFL and failed to get her art off the ground. Then she met this artist who worked in a pub, and they had a brief fling that ended when the artist got fired for doing weed. That had been what gave Nikki the impetus to get clean, and she had been working at the pub for months now, and felt like she had found a decent way to get by. "It's a hard life, but a good one," said Nikki as they approached the kebab shop. "This is on me," said Lisa. Nikki laughed, and they left with a kebab and chips each. "I don't know why I let you talk me into this," said Nikki as she picked at her kebab with a plastic fork. "I'm not drunk enough for a kebab." Lisa smirked and said, "I got us kebabs to remind you of one night, and it is very important because since I last saw you, I've been through some hard times, only to land a windfall and get my dream job, and tomorrow I will be missing, pretty and dead, and I need someone to find the suicide note and letters I have left for everyone." Nikki stopped in her tracks and glared at Lisa. "What did you just say?" Lisa sighed and turned back to Nikki. "I'm not actually going to die, but what is going to happen to me is so mad that no one will believe it, and I have to let them know that I am not coming back." Nikki stared into Lisa's soul as she demanded, "Explain, now." Lisa glared at Nikki. "Well, of course." Nikki was cowed. "I just care about you, is all." Lisa nodded, understanding. "It's okay, but keep walking." Nikki nodded. "Okay, but start talking." Nikki started walking again. Lisa explained, "I met this woman. You were there when I did. She's called the Bamkirch, and she's on this whole other level. This is some chariots of the god shit. Like, she and her best friend are humanish now, but they used to be these god-like entities that defy physics. She has a ship that can travel in time and through the multiverse. She makes toys. That's her hobby, and she also likes to take over worlds, but the important bit is that she makes toys. She finds people and manipulates them into being her willing playthings, and then she does things to them, and she sells them." Nikki shook her head in disbelief. "So is this woman someone you met online that you're only just meeting in person tomorrow? Or I travelled in time and snogged Steve so that he would fall in love with me and thereby cause me to be heartbroken and vulnerable, ready for the Bamkirch to come along and sweep me off my feet," said Lisa. Lisa stopped walking, and Nikki did the same. She remembered the club and that streetlight, but why? Lisa continued. "She took me around a toy expedition and made me endure a lecture on the history of Barbie dolls, and that's when she explained who she is and that she wants to turn me into a toy. Naturally, I avoided her after that, but times got tough, and I knew I had 3 big chances to go, so I phoned her up and turned up for, well, I didn't know what, and that's when I travelled in time. I got the big windfall, and I did the dream job. She wanted me keen, not desperate." "And what changed?" asked Nikki. "What makes you say, yeah, I'm gonna be that strange woman's toy?" Lisa shrugged. "Boredom and curiosity. I had to know, and now..." Nikki stared at her. "So now what? You're gonna run away and become a toy?" Lisa sighed. "I already am. In here." She tapped the side of her head with the index finger of her right hand. "I'm just waiting for the Bamkirch to make the biological changes." "Biological changes?" asked Nikki. Lisa shrugged. "I don't know. I suppose I don't need to, but from what I can gather, I'll need a good bit of resilience and healing, because I really am going to be a toy, and the Bamkirch has made it very clear that once I am fully transformed, she will treat me as we treat our toys." Nikki laughed. "I used to decapitate my sister's Barbies." Lisa nodded. Nikki stared at her. "And you're going with this woman?" Lisa grinned. "It's going to be fun." The penny dropped. Nikki turned to look at the street lamp and backed up against the wall as she remembered seeing the Bamkirch that night. "She asked you out for dinner, didn't she?" Lisa nodded. "It was good food." Nikki laughed. "I was so jealous." Lisa stared at her. "I knew it." Nikki blushed and fumbled at recovery. I was jealous of seeing the sights." "With a woman who turns people into toys?" said Lisa with a smirk. "I could always let her know if you're interested. We could be sold as a pair." Nikki swallowed. "Oh God, Lisa, if this is my last chance to say it, I've got to." Lisa nodded. I know, it's okay. Nikki looked Lisa in the eyes and said, Lisa Watkins, I have fancied you from the moment I set eyes upon you. You are the kindest, sweetest, most endearing woman I have ever had the good fortune to know. Lisa kissed Nikki on the cheek. Nikki stared at her, relishing the sensation of Lisa's lips upon her cheek. Lisa said, I am a toy now, Nikki. I am very obedient, and I have realised that I like the thrill of transgression. I want you to enjoy me, to show me what I have been missing. We'll never see each other after tonight, so there is nothing to lose. Lisa kissed Nikki on the lips and pulled her close. Nikki grinned. Lisa, you show me that you're okay, okay? I know that you're a toy, but you show me that you're alright, because I swear to God, if you actually kill yourself after this. Lisa nodded. I understand. I'll have the banker show off the merchandise. Nikki smiled and could hold back no longer. She kissed Lisa. Lisa kissed back. Lisa woke up naked in Nikki's single bed. The room was small and cluttered with DVDs and CDs. An old laptop lay on her work area to one side. She smelled cooking and went to investigate. Nikki was busy frying sausages, eggs and bacon. Lisa said, "That smells good." "Thanks," said Nikki. "I'm making you a full English breakfast. Go have a shower. Your clothes are in there." Lisa nodded. "Yes, ma'am." The shower was one of those old-fashioned affairs that oscillated between scalding hot and freezing cold. But after a moment, Lisa found the sweet spot and drenched herself in the hot rain. It felt like she was being reborn. She was slewing off the skin of Lisa Watkins, architect in training, becoming something newer, more vital and more alive. She stepped out of the shower and dried herself off with a towel, and she dressed in the clothes. It was what the Bamkersh had given her: flip-flops, an emerald green bikini, a pink skirt, and a crop top. She entered the kitchen, and Nikki was busy plating up breakfast. "What's this for?" asked Lisa. Nikki said, "A last supper for my old friend." Lisa didn't know what to say after that, so she just accepted the plate of food and dug in. Nikki did the washing up while Lisa ate. There was naturally a practical purpose to this, but it was also so Lisa didn't feel awkward about Nikki not affording a similar breakfast for herself. When she had washed up and dried all the cooking utensils and pans, Nikki made herself a mug of tea and Lisa a black coffee. She sat opposite Lisa and watched. It was surreal. She kept thinking, "You are going to be reported dead. You're going to become a toy for some intergalactic cowboy. I am sitting here watching my best friend, my greatest crush, and most amazing fuck wolf down food before becoming a dead toy." Lisa noticed Nikki looking at her and asked, "What are you thinking?" Nikki frowned. She had to keep this light. She searched her mind and remembered a thought she had last night. "You are an excellent choice to be a toy." Lisa blushed and cleaned her plate. Then she asked sheepishly, "You really think so?" Nikki nodded. "You're so beautiful. You are the platonic idea of the female. The platonic ideal of the female." Lisa giggled. "I'm glad you approve." Nikki smiled sadly. "Why do you think I never had the courage to ask you out?" Lisa grinned. "Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I'm straight." Nikki looked Lisa in the eyes. "Really?" Lisa blushed and looked away. "Well, I'm sorry it took so long." "So am I," said Nikki. And then she added, "And now you're going to be a toy. Any idea what that's going to be like?" Lisa leaned in close to Nikki and whispered conspiratorially, "Complete submission and obedience. I love it. God help me, Nikki. I love pleasing her. I love the way she looks at me. It's like she wants me with every fibre of her being, but she's holding herself back. I just want to obey." Nikki looked into Lisa's eyes, and she found a great hunger there, deep desire. Nikki puckered her lips and kissed Lisa tentatively. Lisa kissed back. Nikki pulled Lisa close and snugged her. Lisa climbed onto the table and her hands reached to undo Nikki's belt buckle. Nikki pulled Lisa's skirt and bikini's bottoms free, then lifted off her top so Lisa was lying stretched out naked on the table, and that's when Nikki saw it. Just for a split second she stared hungrily at Lisa's naked body. She saw the proportions of a doll, saw the toy that Lisa was becoming, where last night it had almost been an aphrodisiac. Here it struck a chord. Lisa didn't want to obey Nikki. She didn't want to have sex with Nikki. She was the Bamkirsch's toy mentally, and that is who she wanted to obey. Nikki backed away in shock and confusion. This felt wrong. Lisa put her arms down by her sides and asked, "What's wrong?" Nikki stammered, "This." Lisa frowned and stared at the ceiling. Nikki approached Lisa nervously. She stared down at the beautiful woman before her and said simply, "You're not mine to fuck. I see that now." Lisa sat up and looked Nikki in the eye. "Why do you say that? You belong to the Bamkirsch," said Nikki, and she stroked the back of Lisa's head. "You're her toy, and you need to go with her. You're not meant for this world anymore." Lisa swallowed. "But you're the only person who knows my secret." There were tears welling up in Nikki's eyes now. "And I expect you to come see me when the Bamkirsch has worked the last of her magic with you. I will hold you to that." Lisa grinned and hugged Nikki. "You never know. I might be able to convince the Bamkirsch to give you one of me. Would you like that?" Nikki pulled away and looked Lisa in the eyes. "I don't want a toy. I want to know that you are safe and happy. Now go get dressed. I'll report you missing tomorrow at lunchtime." Lisa nodded and slid off the table so she could get dressed. When she pulled the crop top over her head, Nikki coughed. "I found the collar in your jacket pocket," said Nikki. Lisa turned and accepted the collar. "I took the liberty of having it engraved. I hope you don't mind," said Nikki. Lisa examined the collar. A dog tag hung from it, and engraved on it were the words, "Lisa Watkins, loving friend, amazing toy." "There's space on the back for the Bamkirsch to put her contact details," said Nikki. "I mean, we don't know what you're going to be like as a toy. You might need this." Lisa said, "It's beautiful, thank you." And she hugged Nikki. "Here, let me help you," said Nikki. And she secured the collar around Lisa's neck and brushed her hair. "There, you look beautiful." Lisa grinned. "Look after yourself, yeah?" Nikki grinned. She handed Lisa her jacket. "Oh, I'll be fine. Enjoy yourself, Lisa. May you be the best and most popular toy." They shook hands, and Lisa left Nikki's house. Lisa rang the doorbell of the Bamkirsch's apartment. The Bamkirsch answered the door and smiled upon seeing Lisa. Lisa smiled at the Bamkirsch. The Bamkirsch cleared Lisa's hair from her face and stroked her cheek. "You said goodbye?" Lisa nodded. The Bamkirsch slid her hand down to the small of Lisa's back and stood aside to let Lisa pass inside. The Bamkirsch shut the apartment door and turned to address Lisa. "I wasn't sure you'd actually come." Lisa chuckled. "I lay naked and alone in the dark for you. I'm yours." The Bamkirsch nodded and approached Lisa. "Yes, you really are, aren't you? It's so beautiful." Lisa blushed. The Bamkirsch ran her left hand through Lisa's hair and grinned. "Who is your secret keeper?" Lisa giggled. "Remember outside the club?" The Bamkirsch nodded and headed towards the laboratory. "How could I forget? It was when I got to swoop in and rescue the damsel in distress." Lisa followed and said, "Yeah, then. There was a woman with me. She had purple hair then and smoked." The Bamkirsch started rummaging through her laboratory supplies and cupboards. "I remember her being quite jealous of me. How did she take the news?" Lisa grinned. "We spent the night together. I think I'm by now. Anyway, I've promised her that when you're done with me, you'll pay her a visit. Show I'm okay." The Bamkirsch retrieved what she wanted and turned to look at Lisa. "I think I can do that. Be quite nice to show off my handiwork to someone who can spot the difference." Lisa asked, "Can I get an explanation, or is it bad form to tell your product how she's made?" The Bamkirsch chuckled. "You really are quite endearing, you know." Lisa grinned. The Baumkirch coughed and held up a syringe. This will help you heal faster. It will also speed up your metabolism, so we don't have to wait so long for the others to take effect. The Baumkirch grabbed Lisa's arm and held it steady as she injected the solution. The Baumkirch said, "Get comfy on the bed. We've got quite a few to get through." Lisa nodded and approached the bed. She slipped off her flip-flops and lay down on the bed. The Baumkirch approached with a medical bag. She sat on the other side of the bed and stroked Lisa idly, the way one might stroke a cat. Lisa asked, "What's the next one, then?" "It'll make your bones stronger and your teeth whiter and healthier," said the Baumkirch, and she injected Lisa with the indicated solution. "Neat. So what about the head stuff? I mean, I know you wanted me keen, and I am." The Baumkirch interrupted. "No one is doubting you're keen and want this." Lisa grinned. "Thank you. I just mean, well, it isn't usual for toys to be as smart as me, is it? I mean, what happens with that?" The Baumkirch laughed. "I have in here 3 solutions to deal with your mind. The first allows me, or any other owner, to effectively turn off your mind. You'll still live, you'll remain standing or doing whatever it is you were doing, but the bit of your brain that is you will be sent into a dreamless sleep." Lisa chuckled. "Okay, I can see the appeal of that." The Baumkirch said, "Second is a carefully designed virus that will shut off the parts of your mind and memory that would be inconvenient for the product to have." Lisa thought for a second. "Now that sounds interesting. Like what parts?" The Baumkirch frowned. "Do you really want to know?" "I'm interested," said Lisa. "I became your toy because I want to know what it meant. So start talking." The Baumkirch chuckled and stroked Lisa's cheek. "Do I detect a hint of self-preservation?" Lisa blushed. "I'm sorry." The Baumkirch laughed. "It's all right. I'm joking with you. Solution will render all your knowledge of history, general knowledge, and popular culture a distant haze. You won't remember your family or friends. All you will remember is that one day you were at university, you ran into me, and I convinced you to come with me, and now you are a happy little toy. Your owner takes time to try and teach you. Your old memories can come back into focus, and in time you can remember who you are. But that's where we get to formula number 3. Lisa gave out a long exhale. "I can see why it's needed, but I can also see now why this is very much illegal." Having second thoughts, asked the Baumkirch. Lisa shook her head. "I just worry about Nicky, my secret keeper." The Baumkirch nodded. "Well, don't forget, you will have one last chance to leave me." Lisa sighed. "Not a chance. Tell me about formula number 3. Baumkirch said, "Formula number 3 is why I can confidently sell you the product. You will have complete loyalty and obedience to the first person you set eyes upon, no matter what they do." Lisa swallowed. "I take it you aren't giving me that before you give me the last chance?" The Baumkirch shook her head. "You will have these syringes to take home and inject yourself with before you ring the doorbell tomorrow." Lisa nodded. "Maybe go back to the ones I'm getting injected with now?" The Baumkirch stroked Lisa's cheek. "It'll be okay, honey. You'll love it." Then the Baumkirch reached into her bag and pulled out a syringe. "This will still let you identify pain, but it will be felt as a deeper, richer, bitter pleasure." Lisa smiled. "Oh, I'm so glad to have that." The Baumkirch grinned and injected Lisa with the solution. "This," she said, pulling out a different syringe, "will make it that, aside from your hair, any part of your body that is cut and removed from the rest will continue to function as if it were connected. I've tied in a safety feature to trigger your mind switch off if you spend more than half an hour in a paralysed state." Lisa said, "Thank you for adding that last bit. That doesn't particularly sound fun for me, but I guess it's necessary if I am to be a toy." The Baumkirch said, "It's my favourite feature." Lisa said, "You weren't the kind of girl who played dress-up with your dolls, were you?" The Baumkirch shook her head slowly. "No, I'm someone who saw toys as a way of relieving stress." Lisa frowned. "But you're so sweet to me." The Baumkirch said, "I'm good at what I do. Doesn't mean I won't relish beating you up and pulling you apart." Lisa sighed. Fine, inject me. The Bamkush injected Lisa. Lisa asked, so what about needing to breathe, eating, shitting and periods? Can I sweat? Bamkush pulled out a syringe. This will make all those things entirely optional. Periods will effectively stop because you'll only need to create a lining for eggs and indeed release eggs if you want to. Lisa said, see now that makes me think I can live happily as your two toy. Hang on. You're saying toys can have kids, but isn't that, like, well, rapey? I mean, if someone buys me from a shop and I am instantly obsessed with them and they can have kids with me, gosh, if I am completely obedient, I mean, I'm a toy, right? And I'm bought for these kids and this skinny child going through puberty. The Bamkush rolled her eyes. Lisa, give me some fucking credit, yeah? I may be an eldritch abomination possessing the body of a woman and turning you into toys so I can conquer the multiverse, but I draw the line at rape, and especially that. When it comes to sex, you will have agency enough to say no and to consent. Lisa breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, thank God. But why can I have children if I'm a toy? The Bamkush laughed because I am not blind to the reality that you are a young woman who swings both ways and may well want to settle them down and raise a kid in future. The fact that you are legally property and have very few rights does not mean you can't fall in love. Sylphs can get married and sylphs can have pet sylphs, so toys can as well. Lisa said, I think I love you, you know. I assumed, well, that I'd be scooped out and replaced with a robot or something. The Bamkush shook her head. I'm a have my cake and eat it kind of woman. Lisa said, well, between pulling my head off and beating me up, do you reckon you might find time to let me be human? You know, take me for walks and shit. The Bamkush kissed Lisa's forehead and injected Lisa. Then she pulled out a final syringe. This will make your skin exceedingly durable. You will be able to withstand a head-on nuclear blast, the hottest of fires, deep space, the highest water pressures, and even treading on Lego bricks. Needless to say, your mind will turn off after half an hour in any environment when you can't do anything to help your situation. You will, however, be endangered by stars, black holes, and logic bombs. Lisa whistled. Impressive, so how can you? The Bamkush grinned. Context sensitive. You are a durable toy, not a soldier. If a person uses their hands or simple tools, you will be slightly easier to take apart than you are now. Lisa nodded. You sold me on this. The Bamkush injected Lisa with the final syringe. Lisa asked, what now? The Bamkush got off the bed and packed away the medical bag. Then she asked, would you like to see the factory? Lisa sat up. All right. Yeah. The Bamkush headed over to the central console, to the control console. Lisa got off the bed and slipped on her flip-flops. Then she strode towards the doorway. The Bamkush pulled a lever and the apartment door sprang open. The Bamkush approached Lisa and held her hands as she looked into her eyes. Thank you. Truly. Lisa, you have been more than I could have ever hoped. She stroked Lisa's cheek and kissed her on the forehead. Come on. Lisa followed the Bamkush out into a vast cathedral of industry as vast cables fed conveyor belts and rollers and great white crates. The Bamkush led the way to an inspection ladder and made sure the way was safe before she let Lisa climb up after her. The Bamkush led Lisa along the inspection route to a heavy metal door, and after passing multiple forms of identification, the door shut open. Inside was a vast chamber the size of a football pitch. Lisa was amazed. What is this place? I mean, how does that work? The Bamkush said, ever heard of quantum teleportation? Lisa thought for a second and said, that's the Grandad Spade approach of teleportation, right? You get destroyed at one end, rebuilt at the other, except it's completely different matter. The Bamkush nodded. Well, this is like that, only the original is not destroyed and we retain the data, so we can keep printing units out. The floor and ceiling serve to essentially build the unit subatomic particle by subatomic particle, logic encoding after logic encoding. Then, when the entire field is filled with units, the wall at the back is pushed by pneumatic rams and the units sluice off the printer bay, down a series of rollers and onto conveyor belts where the units are then sent off for shipping across the multiverse. Wow, exclaimed Lisa, impressed. So, where's the input? Where do I go? The Bamkush grinned. I love that you love this, you know. Lisa smirked. You're going to show me at what? The Bamkush led the way as she chuckled. You're a chicken asking how KFC is made. Lisa snorted. It was a long walk, but at last the Bamkush led Lisa to a large white space with a cable and weird-looking antenna overhead. This is where you go. Lisa stood looking at the place and was lost in thought for a moment. This was an almost religious place for her. This, though she would not be aware of it when it happened, was where Lisa would become Legion, where she would finally become merchandise. The Bamkush checked her watch and pulled what looked like a yo-yo out of her pocket. She clasped her hands around Lisa's neck as if examining her collar. She read the engraving on the tag off to cover the twisting and splitting of the two halves of the yo-yo. Lisa Watkins, loving friend and amazing toy. Or, who wrote that? The Bamkush used the different halves of the yo-yo as handles as a super thin, hyper advanced cutting wire was revealed under high tension. The Bamkush proceeded to slowly saw through Lisa's neck. The Bamkush's thumb and knuckles held Lisa's head carefully so that there was a 2 millimeter space between the areas that had been cut, preventing healing. Lisa answered, Nikki, my secret keeper. It's sweet, isn't it? Yeah, said the Bamkush. I think we'll keep it, include it in the product. Lisa asked, what are you doing? I mean, I know you wanted to look at the collar, but what are those disc-shaped things? Lisa's head separated from her neck. Lisa, honey, hold your left hand flat out before you, said the Bamkush. Lisa frowned but held her left hand out flat before her. Perfect, said the Bamkush. Now shut your eyes and don't open them until I say. Lisa shut her eyes and said, Okay, my eyes are shut. Good girl, said the Bamkush, and she rested Lisa's head on her left hand as the Bamkush carefully stowed the cutting wire disguised as a yo-yo. When her hands were free, the Bamkush picked up Lisa's head in her hands, strode forward 3 paces and turned around. So she was looking at Lisa's headless body. And open your eyes, said the Bamkush. Lisa opened her eyes and shrieked. She made her left hand into a fist and watched as the headless body with the outstretched left hand clenched its fist. This is very weird, said Lisa. The Bamkush grinned. It's fantastic, isn't it? You're fantastic. Look, you can lick yourself out. Lisa tried to shake her head, but instead she watched her neck gyrate without her head, and Lisa's perspective didn't change. No, said Lisa, I don't like this. Spoil sport, said the Bamkush, and she put Lisa's head back on her neck. It healed in a moment. Lisa shook her head and sighed with relief to experience the familiar sensations. Lisa shuddered. I really did not like that. The Bamkush stroked Lisa's arms compassionately and said, You are now ready to be the mould for the packaging. Lisa stared at her, wondering what on earth she was talking about. And then she realised. Dolls always came in vacuum-formed, clear plastic packaging to hold them in place and keep them from moving in transit. Except Lisa hadn't been prototyped. There was no rough version to use for forming. There was just Lisa. She sighed. The fast healing was the first injected. You knew that would function. You needed to make sure the other stuff was working before you'd let me in the vacuum former. The Bamkersh nodded. That, and I like the power of decapitating you. Lisa groaned. Whatever. The Bamkersh led the way to the vacuum former. Lisa followed. The vacuum former was a chamber the size of 4 stacked vans. A clear door led inside. The floor of the chamber was a mesh grill, and the top was where a sheet of plastic would be heated up and lowered down. The Bamkersh said, You'll have to strip. You can withstand molten plastic, your clothes can't. Lisa started stripping, but asked, What about my hair? The Bamkersh handed Lisa what looked like a leather shower cap. It's your skin. I grew the sample I took from you and treated it with the same stuff. Your eyebrows and eyelashes will go, but they'll have grown back by the time we record the data for the printers. Lisa shrugged and put the leather cap over her hair. On your front first, said the Bamkersh. Fingers and toes together, mouth closed, arms and legs displayed. Lisa was let into the vacuum former, and the Bamkersh activated the machinery. A sheet of hot plastic was pulled down, and the vacuum formed the plastic around Lisa. Plastic was allowed to cool before being lifted up to free Lisa. The Bamkersh let Lisa out. The plastic shell is scanned into the system, and a new copy of the shell is printed out of wire mesh, flipped upside down and held in place, ready for Lisa to climb in and form the other half of the packaging. Lisa climbs in backwards and fits in the mesh shell, then shuts her eyes and awaits the piercing heat of near molten plastic. The hot plastic is brought down, forms around Lisa, then cools. Then it is lifted up and Lisa is allowed free. The Bamkersh lets Lisa out, then hugs her and kisses her on the forehead. I'm proud of you, Lisa. You're ready. I think I'll save you the walk back. Lisa starts gathering up her clothes. The Bamkersh pulls out a simple drawstring bag and holds it open. Drop them in here. I've already put your collar in there. Lisa places the clothes in the bag and stands naked before the Bamkersh. So what next? The Bamkersh hands her a hairband. Put your hair into a ponytail. Lisa raises an eyebrow in curiosity, but does as she is told. The Bamkersh pulls out what looks like a flimsy black fabric bag, unzips it and lays it out on the ground. Lisa finishes the ponytail. The Bamkersh says, Sit down on the bag. Lisa stared at the odd black mess of straps for a moment, trying to work out what it was, and then she realised the front, back and sides had been folded out and laid flat on the ground. The bag would be built around her. Lisa sat down on what looked like to be the bottom and buckled herself in. She slipped her feet into a special fold at the bottom of the bag. She slipped her left and right arms through straps in the side and folded her arms around her. Then a thought occurred to her. This is a bag, right? I'm going to be immobile and in the dark here. Yes, said the Bamkersh, standing over Lisa. Is that a problem? Lisa said, Well, you can cut my head off. We can talk while you walk. The Bamkersh grinned. Gather up your ponytail in your right hand and pull ever so gently away from you. Lisa started gathering her hair. The Bamkersh strode behind Lisa and pulled out her yo-yo and squatted down. Lisa pulled the ponytail forward and to the right. The Bamkersh massaged Lisa's neck and twisted the two halves of the yo-yo. You might want to shut your eyes now. Lisa shut her eyes. I'm ready. The halves of the yo-yo became handles as wire sliced carefully through Lisa's neck. Lisa's head swung forwards and dangled from the ponytail held in her right hand. The Bamkersh united the two halves of the yo-yo and then stowed it and she grabbed Lisa's head. "It's all right. I've got you." Lisa breathed a sigh of relief and dropped the ponytail. The Bamkush said, "I'm going to set you on the ground. I'm going to set your head on the ground, and now hug your knees. I need to pack your body away." The Bamkush placed Lisa's head on the ground and went to her body. Lisa hugged her knees, and the Bamkush zipped up the sides of the bag and buckled the top closed. The Bamkush wore the drawstring bag first, then slung the backpack containing Lisa's body onto her back. Finally, she picked up Lisa's head and held it like she was recording a vlog on the move. "You can open your eyes now." Lisa opened her eyes as she saw she was being held at arm's length from the Bamkush. Could see the bag that she knew contained her body. "It's an interesting experience." The Bamkush chuckled and started walking. "I know everything about you, Lisa, but while we walk I want to enlighten you on anything you don't know." Lisa asked, "What's the point? I'm going to forget everything." The Bamkush shook her head. "The point, my dear, is that you have an inquiring mind and we have a long walk ahead of us." "Okay," said Lisa, "tell me about the Farshnuk, tell me about the Sylphs, and tell me about the United Civilizations of the Multiverse." The Bamkush kicked open the door of the apartment and rammed Lisa's head on the golf club. "I won't be a moment, darling." Lisa sighed. The Bamkush slung her backpacks onto the bed and unzipped the bag containing Lisa's body. Then she started rummaging through the clothes racks. Lisa called, "Hey, I'd quite like my body, please." The Bamkush chuckled. Lisa shut her eyes and focused on what she could feel, her memory of getting into the bag. There were two straps holding her arms in place. She felt along her left arm with her right hand until she found the strap. She grabbed it and pulled her left arm free. Then she freed her right arm. She slipped her feet out from the fold at the bottom of the bag. Finally, she felt for the buckle around her waist. Now free, Lisa edged along the edge of the bed until she found the floor and nervously stood up. Her sense of balance was shit, since you get that from your ears, and her ears were not on her body at the moment, but she was confident and had muscle memory on her side. Lisa stood up and clapped with her hands. The Bamkush turned and approached Lisa's body. She grabbed Lisa's hands and pulled them to her side. Then she lifted Lisa's body up and laid it on the bed. She cried, "Stay!" and stroked Lisa's arms compassionately. Then she stood up, approached Lisa's head and picked it up. "Lisa, I don't think you quite get this. You stay until I am ready for you." Lisa stuck her tongue out obstinately. The Bamkush laughed and carried Lisa's head over to rejoin her body. Lisa healed in moments and said, "If we're going to do this, I need to know that I can trust you." The Bamkush looked sadly at Lisa. "I have lied to you, manipulated you, cut your head off, and I will beat you. You are going to be my property, and I am going to sell you as a toy. There is no trust. There is only your loyalty, obedience, and sweetness. The next time you walk through that door, my work will be complete, and Lisa Watkins, the human being, will be no more. You won't have the rights that you do now, and you won't care what I do to you." The Bamkush handed Lisa her bra, knickers, jeans, t-shirt, and jacket. "This is your last chance to walk away." Lisa got dressed and removed the hairband, the ponytail unravelling as a result. The Bamkush handed Lisa a medical bag. "If you come back, inject the contents of these 3 syringes before you ring the doorbell." "So this is goodbye then," said Lisa. "Even if I return..." "Well, I won't. Your toy will, but I will be gone, lost to the fog of memory." The Bamkush nodded and stroked Lisa's cheek. "I will miss you. I think I will. You're smart. I like that. But smart toys are scary. You won't sell otherwise." Lisa nodded sadly. and that's all I ever was to you in the end. Product. The Bamkirsch nodded silently, biting her lip. Then she kissed Lisa on the forehead. Goodbye, Lisa. It was fun. Yeah, said Lisa. It really was. Lisa approached the apartment door. The Bamkirsch pulled some levers on the console to reveal London as the apartment door sprang open. Lisa stepped out, barefoot, into London. Lisa felt lost and alone. She didn't want to turn around and ring the doorbell. She had to think about this, but she had nowhere to go. She was a dead woman and she didn't want to deal with that. She just wanted someone to make her feel loved and wanted. She staggered out into the crowd and a commanding male voice said, "Only two kinds of people walk barefoot. People who can't be asked to put on shoes because they're so close to home, and people who don't need shoes in the first place. You look like a bit of both." Lisa turned to the source of the voice and found herself looking at a man in a bedraggled suit with a tie and a Windsor knot, emerald green eyes and short black hair. He smiles at her. "It's all right, I don't bite." Lisa approached. He sticks his hands in his pockets and slouches as he paces, explaining idly, "So I was just in the middle of convincing Julius Caesar that maybe he should reform the army so the legions aren't tied to the success of the generals when the Bamkirsch turns up. This time as a woman, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to be a woman. Why the fuck not? But she's not here to play the great game. She's here to offer me an olive branch. A toy," she says. "A toy that has engraved on her collar, Lisa Watkins, loving friend, amazing toy." He pauses to watch Lisa's reaction. Lisa is confused. The strange man continues, "I'm no stranger to hooky goods, and me and the Bamkirsch, well, we go way back. I know what she's like, and I know how she works, and that means I have just left my best friend of my human life with a woman that when I last met her tried very hard to murder me." He pauses and looks at Lisa. "I am risking my best friend's life to see that you are okay, Lisa. I am the Farshnik, and I have a very important question to ask you. What do you think that shed is doing there?" With that, the man turns and strides towards where a rickety wooden shed lies parked at the side of the road. Lisa follows. The man enters and leaves the door ajar. Lisa carefully approaches the doorway and sees a large room with a mushroom-shaped console beyond. She enters it. Lisa enters a large seven-sided Art Deco room covered in crisp packets and soda bottles. "Don't mind the mess," says the man. "You can shut the door if you like. We both know I can't hurt you." Lisa shuts the door behind her. The man approaches with a bowl of what looks like dry cat food. "Kibble?" Lisa examines the food nervously, then looks at him. He frowns. "Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure what toys I ate. This is self kibble. Keeps the girls good and strong and their hair ever so shiny." Lisa smirks. "So you really are the Farshnik?" Farshnik nods. "And you look lost. Do you want to follow me through into the living room and tell me about it?" Lisa looks at him awkwardly. Farshnik smacks his head in frustration at his own stupidity. "Toy, Farshnik. She's a toy." He grimaces. "Lisa, I am going to sit on a sofa in the living room. There will be a space next to me." The Farshnik strides through a door into a living room with sofas and armchairs and TVs and DVDs. Lisa follows. The Farshnik sits rather ostentatiously on the sofa. Lisa sits beside him. "So what is it you do with sylphs?" asks Lisa. The Farshnik frowns. "I'm not a nice man, Lisa. When I saw the sylph pill in action, I panicked. I did things. Nasty things. 20 years of nasty things. I saw sense eventually, and I became a hero. For a brief moment I knew someone. She was my you. She made me complete. She was my pet and one of my best friends." "What happened to her?" asked Lisa. The Farshnik stared into space for a long moment, then simply said, "Bad things." Lisa took his hand and squeezed it. The Farshnik looked at Lisa and frowned. "You'd make the most amazing sylph, you know." Lisa was taken aback, but she trailed off, she couldn't say it. The words hurt. Tell me about her, said the Farshnook, and he brushed hair from her face. Lisa nodded. She is lying, manipulated. She cuts my head off for fun, and I love her. I love how small she makes me feel, how the hairs stand up on the back of my neck just thinking about her, how she possesses every inch of my body and soul and makes me want to obey her. Farshnook nods. She's just so confident. She's always got a plan, says Lisa. But she doesn't care about me. She cares about the product. The Farshnook said carefully, what needs to happen before you become the product? Lisa holds up the medical bag. There are 3 syringes in here for my mind. The first lets me be turned off. The second makes all memory aside from the taming distant and foggy. And the third makes me obedient. The Farshnook nods. Yep, that's the Bamkirsch, all right. Lisa gives the Farshnook a pained expression. What do I do? I love her so much and I want to please her so much, but I don't want to. The Farshnook hugs Lisa. Darling, I would take you in a heartbeat. You wouldn't even have to become a sylph. Then he pulls back. But I don't think you want to run away. I don't think you want a third way. I think you're scared because nobody can be that good, but I think you want to go through with this. Lisa was on the verge of tears now. You inject me these. It's hard. I can't do it. Farshnook stroked Lisa's cheek. I'll do it. I'll deliver you to the Bamkirsch and I'll even ring the doorbell for you. But I'm not doing it now. Lisa swallowed hard. Why? It's all I'm good for. The Farshnook froze as tendrils of rage clawed at his features. He swallowed and shook his head. Lisa, you are a young and beautiful woman. You could achieve so many things. I am not delivering you now because I know how the Bamkirsch operates and I know who you are. You did not start down this path because the Bamkirsch was that good at talking to you. Something happened to make you choose this. What was it? Lisa's mind was put back to happier times and she started to calm down as she explained. Well, she gave me 3 chances after I saw her, when she would make me go away and consider my life choices. My ability to say no would diminish each time, but I would have 3 chances, so it was a card I kept in my back pocket for a rainy day. And that rainy day came, said the Farshnook. How? Lisa sighed. Turns out graduating just means a hunk of debt to pay off and 3 years of your life wasted. Oh, by the way, you're more likely to be killed by the benefit system than you are to be murdered. The Farshnook grimaced angrily. And when you're trapped between the Nazis and the Communists, suddenly a deal with the devil, especially if you have 3 more chances to cancel that deal, looks pretty darn tempting. What happened next? You gave me a fuck ton of money and a job, said Lisa, and I took my first chance and ran away with it. But, said the Farshnook, but she was under my skin, said Lisa, and I was just like, well, my job's awesome, but I know how it ends, and I don't know how being a toy ends, and I'm excited to know how I get there. Farshnook frowned. The ennui of the career ladder. How did you spend your next chance? Lisa said, I said goodbye. I knew I was hers then, so I faked suicide notes and had my friend from university, Nikki, act as my secret keeper and find them. The Farshnook nodded. The hooks were well and truly in. And what was your 3rd chance? Lisa looked at him awkwardly. This is it. The Farshnook froze, his brain making dreadful calculations. He whistled, then said, Well played, Bamkirsch, well played. Lisa stared at the strange man. What do you mean? The Farshnook explained, You're not a doctor or a nurse, and no offence, but you don't look the type to do drugs from a needle. The only way you could possibly get yourself injected is if you walk to a hospital and ask around, and they'll take one look at you and decide to get the syringes far away from you. Fuck knows what surprises the Bamkirch has in store if they try to study the syringes. You'll get sectioned for saying stuff their understanding of science says is impossible, faking suicide and expressing a desire to be a toy. They'll realise you're harmless and your conditioning will break. You'll get a good job and live a good life. Lisa said, I don't understand. The Farshnik sighed. Bamkirch cares for you. She really cares for you. She gave you up. She gave up the product you represent to her. Lisa was struggling to take this all in. But that's good, isn't it? Oh, it's very good, said the Farshnik. Why do you seem angry? Asked Lisa. The Farshnik stood up and grimaced. He threw a cushion against the room. I am angry because a Bamkirch is a cold, calculating little bitch who is not ruled by such things as emotions. He spat on the floor in disgust. She planned to sell you to me, and that means she knew that there would always be a reality where that exists. But for that reality to exist in a universe where she gave you up, something has to change, and that something is me turning up to play the hero, only to realise that yet again I have to kill a woman. Lisa stood up and cried, What? You're going to kill me? The Farshnik looked Lisa in the eyes. She's going to mass produce and sell you. She only needs to do that once for all the other Bamkirches to get to have you as a toy. I, through my stupid desire to help, am the only person available who can inject you. If I don't, I can't return to my friend. I will have abandoned her to the woman who did this to you. Lisa swallowed, understanding. One way or another, you have to let someone become a toy of the Bamkirch. Farshnik nodded, silently furious. And I've already been tamed, said Lisa. I just need to make the last step. The Farshnik walked past Lisa and paced the console room. I can't do this anymore, he said. He screamed at the ceiling. I am not doing this again. Lisa stepped out into the console room. 20 years! 20 fucking years! And now this! And now this! Farshnik kicked the console. Lisa asked, Are you okay? Morality's a bitch, said the Farshnik. Then he opened a cubby in the stem of the console and pulled out pencil and paper. He handed the paper and pencil to Lisa and said, I need names and places the Prime Minister, the head of the Department of Work and Pensions, your secret keeper. If I am here, I might as well do some good beyond, well... Lisa started writing. The Farshnik watched her and felt a pang of heartbreak. In another life we might have been friends. Lisa finished writing and said, Or I could have been your pet. He smiled wistfully at the thought. Lisa approached him. What would you do if I were your pet? He grinned. Oh, I'd spoil you. You'd have your every heart's desire. I'd take you for walks and you'd snuggle up as I watched Professor Logisti. He stroked her cheek gently and said, I am sorry, Lisa. Don't be, said Lisa. None of this is your fault. The Farshnik hugged her. Think of the Bamkirch, Lisa. Think of all the time she's made you feel alive. Lisa felt a slight scratch on her left arm and heard the tinkling of spent syringes dropping to the floor. The Farshnik walked in silence with Lisa to the Bamkirch's apartment. Lisa decided to ring the doorbell herself. The door swung open and Lisa walked inside as the Farshnik backed off. The sand wedge struck Lisa across the temple. The pain was bitter but rich in ecstasy. The Bamkirch dropped the sand wedge and picked up a cricket bat. Lisa grinned, her body electric with the excitement. One last act of domination. The Bamkirch smiled sadistically. I told you this day would come. The cricket bat slammed into Lisa's left leg and she collapsed with a scream of bitter ecstasy as her lower leg was dislocated from her knee. The Bamkersh swung the cricket bat round in a circle and impacted Lisa's right ear as she fell. The Bamkersh stood over Lisa's fallen body and whacked her right in the face with the flat of the bat, breaking her nose. The Bamkersh knelt down and moved the cricket bat to her offhand. She pulled a dagger out of her pocket and started making careful cuts across Lisa's body. Lisa stared up at her mistress and knew she was on borrowed time. She cried out, "I love you." "I know," said the Bamkersh testily, as she finished the last of her cuts. The Bamkersh stowed the dagger and got to her feet as she moved the cricket bat to her primary hand again. Lisa hurriedly got to her feet, fully healed, and looked over to where the toy box sat. Its lid opened to catch and slam down on anything thrown into it. The Bamkersh circled Lisa and slammed her in the arse with the cricket bat, sending her flying towards the door. Lisa's shoulder caught the corner of the hallway wall, and she screamed with bitter ecstasy. It was now that she noticed that she was standing naked and her clothes lay in pieces on the floor. She laughed. The Bamkersh abandoned the cricket bat for a pair of hockey sticks. Lisa grinned and backed away to give the Bamkersh room to swing. The Bamkersh lashed out with one heavy strike from the left stick and followed it up with the right. Lisa had a moment to catch her breath before the Bamkersh started pounding. Just pounding away at Lisa. Lisa jumped and the Bamkersh seized the opportunity presented. Lisa was juggled into the air above the Bamkersh, and when just about every square inch of her flesh had been pummeled, the Bamkersh picked up a baseball bat and slammed Lisa's bruised and battered body into the toy box. The lid of the toy box slammed shut on Lisa as she lay in exquisite ecstasy in the dark until the injections took effect. The Bamkersh tossed the baseball bat away and stood, panting for a moment. She approached the toy box and saw a device she'd installed on the toy box lid glow with a green light. The injections within Lisa had activated, and the device had just successfully turned Lisa's mind off. The Bamkersh opened up the toy box and found Lisa in a heap. She lifted Lisa up and carried her to the bed. Then she pulled out her quantum oscillator and altered the jamming frequency to allow Lisa's body to go limp. The Farshnuk slid the fold-out bag underneath Lisa and buckled her into the bag. Next, she slid Lisa's feet into the special fold at the bottom of the bag and pulled Lisa's arms through the side straps. She posed Lisa so she was hugging her knees and altered jamming frequencies to hold her body in that position. Then she zipped up the bag and buckled the top closed. The Bamkersh went to the console, and after a while at the controls, she pulled the door lever and it sprang open. Bamkersh slung the bag containing Lisa onto her back and walked out the door. The factory was buzzing with overseers and workers now. It was, after all, about to go live. The Bamkersh made the long trek over to the input scanner for the factory and found the packaging waiting on the input plate. The chief overseer nodded respectfully. "Ma'am?" The Bamkersh smiled at the reassuring sight of Francine, the fat, freckly 50-year-old, massively experienced chief overseer, and said, "It was a bit fraught, but I got her in the end." The chief overseer nodded. "We'll just lay her in the packaging and my crew will have her ready for the data entry in a few moments." The Bamkersh nodded and approached the packaging. It was the bottom half of the packaging, and she smiled at the impression of Lisa's butt. The Bamkersh carefully took the bag containing Lisa off her back, unbuckled the top, and unzipped it. She altered the jamming frequency and Lisa's body went limp. She pulled Lisa's arms and feet free, then unbuckled her from the bag. She laid Lisa's body out flat and altered the frequency again so the Bamkersh could easily lift Lisa into the packaging. She altered the frequency to let Lisa's body fit to let Lisa's limp body fit perfectly into the grooves. Then she stood back. The chief overseer's hand-picked team brought the top part of the packaging on top of Lisa, and then they proceeded to glue, tape, and cable tie the two halves of the packaging securely around Lisa. The overseer said, "Ma'am, we're about to wire in the psycho-inhibitors and interference dampeners." The Bamkersh nodded and aimed her quantum oscillator at Lisa. She altered the frequency one last time, and Lisa's body was held rigid in position. The Bamkersh lowered the quantum oscillator. The chief overseer nodded for work to continue. The button to turn Lisa's mind on was added. Lisa's skirt, crop top, bikini, flip-flops, and collar were added. Then interference dampening wires were laid out, and small battery-powered computers programmed to knock Lisa unconscious and alert security of mind-brain function was detected were added. Finally, the cardboard branding was slid into position and secured with tape. The chief overseer inspected the packaging, then cried, "All right, guys, you've done a good job. Clear the area and get to your work positions. It's go time." Everyone cleared away from the input plate, and the Bamkersh looked anxiously at Lisa as beams of logic scanned her every subatomic particle and oscillation of logic. Chief Overseer listened into an earpiece and said, "That's 3 good scans. Mum, she's all yours." The Bamkersh ran forwards onto the input plate and tore at the packaging. She pulled the knife from her pocket and started cutting Lisa free. Then she pressed the switch on button. The toy opened her eyes and said, "Hello? I'm Lisa. You can call me something different if you like. What's your name?" Bamkersh grinned. "You may call me Mistress. I am the Bamkersh." The toy grinned. "My maker. You raised me up from humanity. How may I make your life better?" The Bamkersh stroked the toy's cheek and said, "You can start by getting dressed." The toy nodded. "With pleasure, Mistress." The Bamkersh helped the toy out of the packaging and handed her clothes. The toy got dressed and the Bamkersh readied her collar. The toy stood before the Bamkersh in the pink skirt, crop top, and flip-flops. The Bamkersh smiled and approached the toy. She grabbed her around the waist and pulled her close. The toy grinned. The Bamkersh secured the collar round the toy's neck and said, "Follow me, girl, and stay close. I don't want to lose you." The toy nodded. The Bamkersh stroked the toy's cheek and turned away from her. The chief overseer was grinning. "She's everything you wanted, then?" "Oh, yes," said the Bamkersh. "A truly amazing little toy. Now, if you'll excuse me, the chief overseer chuckled. Go enjoy her. You've earned it." The Bamkersh nodded and started making her way to the apartment. The toy followed obediently. The Bamkersh entered the apartment and headed straight to the console and felt breath on the nape of her neck. She turned and saw the toy standing right behind her. Clearly her toy was a good deal stupider than Lisa. The Bamkersh had a wicked thought and asked, "Hey girl, how do you feel if I cut your head off?" The toy blushed and giggled. "I am yours to command and play with." The Bamkersh studied the toy for a long moment and fondled the yo-yo in her pocket. The toy was grinning at her. It was a stupid, childish grin, the kind a lovesick youngster gives their crush. The Bamkersh shook her head. It wasn't the same. There was no pleasure to be taken from such a brainless individual. She said, "Go stand by the side of the hallway. When I stroke your head, follow me like you have done." The toy nodded and went to stand by the side of the hallway. The Bamkersh manipulated the controls and pulled the door lever. Bamkersh headed out the door, stroking the toy's head as she passed. The toy followed the Bamkersh out the door. They were in an office in a building. A short, balding white man in a business suit had a bunch of files before him on a desk. He stood up as they entered and shook first the Bamkersh's, then the toy's hand. "Miss Bamkersh, Miss Watkins, I am Cedric Lumpkin. I am a judge by trade, but the Ministers for Retail, Animal Welfare and Human Rights agreed to hire me to be your liaison. Mr. Lumpkin sat down in his office chair. The Bamkirsch and a toy each took a seat opposite him. Right. This is the situation as I understand it, said Mr. Lumpkin. You, Miss Bamkirsch, wish to claim a legal right to own, mass produce and sell Miss Watkins here. Indeed, not only that, but you wish to file a patent and copyright claim upon her. The Bamkirsch nodded. That's right. The toy smiled bemusedly at Mr. Lumpkin. Why? Asked Mr. Lumpkin. On what grounds? The Bamkirsch said, why is simple. I need money, a lot of money, an awful lot of money. I am an incarnation of the Elder God, and so I decided to break out my old hobby, making toys. Mr. Lumpkin sighed. At least you're honest about what motivates you. But surely you must see that this is quite impossible for any civilized society, let alone one that was forged under oppression, to tolerate selling thinking beings as toys. The Bamkirsch shook her head. It's transformative. Lisa Watkins may have been born a free-thinking creature, but I have remade her. I changed her outlook and ideals. I have rewritten her soul. I have changed her biology with tools and potions of my own original design. The toy you see before you now shares the face and essential personality attributes of Lisa Watkins, but everything else was changed by me. Mr. Lumpkin said, but that's murder. The Bamkirsch shook her head. I consulted with Lisa every step of the way, and I have full logs of our meetings. I even have her memories backed up. I absolutely remade Lisa into a toy, but she absolutely consented. I mean, she gave herself the last 3 injections. Besides which, Lisa isn't really dead. She's changed beyond all recognition. But that is still her mind. Her memories of all save the taming are locked behind a haze that can be lifted over time with help. The intent is that the customers get to enjoy a blank slate that will grow to love them. Mr. Lumpkin frowned. If there is evidence to what you say, then it would seem that you indeed have a case, but this sets a very dangerous precedent. The door squeaked open, and a tall, blonde woman in a business suit arrived. Sorry if I'm late. Shit got delayed. What did I miss? Mr. Lumpkin stood up to shake the woman's hand in greeting. Ah, Miss Dance's hatchling liaison. The hatchling of Lucy Dance shook Mr. Lumpkin's hand. Yes, Lucy is very keen that this goes off without a hitch. The hatchling took a seat beside the toy. Mr. Lumpkin said, Miss Bamkirsch was just explaining that she thinks it is fine to patent copyright and sell as property Miss Watkins here, because she believes she has sufficiently transformed her, but in a manner that does not constitute killing. Mr. Lumpkin's face was amusement, hiding disgust. The hatchling nodded. The Bamkirsch can do that, for much the same reason as Lucy. Mr. Lumpkin stared at her. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that Lucy Dance is a brood queen to at least 1 billion different hatchlings like myself. Many are sent off to war, but a good 3% are given to various nobles and friends as gifts, said the hatchling confidently. Mr. Lumpkin said, but the hatchlings are born with the mother's memories and personality and share exactly their DNA. In many ways, you are Lucy Dance, so Lucy going about those practices is fine because she can be sure of consent, and nothing is enshrined in law. The hatchling grinned, sensing victory. Ah, but Lisa did consent. Lucy met her and verified as such, and the method of producing the toys is logicular replication. Essentially quantum teleportation, but without the need for quantum entanglement and the destruction of the original. If quantum teleportation was deemed ethically sound enough to use for transporting people, then legally toys produced via logicular replication can be said to be the same as the original toy, and therefore, what the one consented to, the others would have too. Mr. Lumpkin was stunned by the argument, but the hatchling wasn't done yet. By your own logic, if the Bamkirsch was not asking for payment, the toys could be just as manufactured and made available to the same people in the same way. You would just have it that any random person without the means to provide the toys with sufficient engagement could get one, and without any kind of legal regulation to protect the toys or the people who buy them, said the hatchling. Baumkirch whistled, impressed. Mr. Lumpkin said, "All right, you have a case. But I want all records, and I want a full scan of Miss Watkins to ensure that everything is above board." Months passed in fierce negotiations, but finally the Baumkirch, the toy, and the hatchling hit the restaurant to celebrate. Lucy and Greta sat at a table and waved them over. The hatchling and the Baumkirch sat opposite Greta and Lucy. The toy stood beside the Baumkirch. "So a little birdie tells me you are now the proud legal owner of one Miss Lisa Watkins," said Lucy conspiratorially. The Baumkirch grinned. The hatchling said, "It was a nightmare, months of banging our heads against this brick wall, as every time we convinced him to see a single element of our argument, he would resort to the same old rhetoric. Well, this is slavery, this is murder, this is abuse." Greta chuckled. "Anyway, eventually we wore him down," said the hatchling. "Good," said Lucy. "And how do you feel?" The Baumkirch whispered to the toy. "Hey girl, sit on my lap, yeah?" The toy nodded, and once the Baumkirch had moved back a bit, the toy sat on her lap. The hatchling sighed. "I just feel so euphoric, so relieved it's finally over." Lucy laughed. "I meant about each other." Hatchling frowned. "How do you mean?" The Baumkirch and Greta laughed. Even Lucy smirked. The hatchling looked to the toy curiously and said, "Well, how do you feel?" The Baumkirch looked the hatchling in the eyes and said, "I think it could work." The hatchling looked back at Lucy. "Why?" Lucy shrugged. "I am sort of the mascot of the United Civilizations. I could do with having toys made of me, and, well, what else are you going to do?" The hatchling blushed. "Well, I suppose I am a little open to the idea." The Baumkirch chuckled. "She'll be in stores by the end of the week." The hatchling looked away nervously. The Baumkirch said, "Anyway, I'm afraid I must confess something." She pulled a memory gun round out from her pocket. "I cheated." Lucy laughed. "Fantastic." And she dug a memory gun out of her pocket. The Baumkirch handed the round to Lucy. Lucy loaded the round, took aim in the dead centre of the toy's forehead, and fired. The memories of Lisa's life up to the point of the recording of the round, when the Baumkirch had taken her to meet Lucy for the first time, exploded like a bomb in her head, as all at once fog cleared in an instant. But the shockwaves did not stop the recording of the round. The walls in Lisa's mind were crumbling, and she remembered the injections, remembered her head being cut off, remembered the bag, remembered the flashing, and yes, even remembered the Baumkirch juggling her in the air with hockey stick blows. Lisa burst out crying. The Baumkirch squeezed Lisa tight and said, "It's okay. I'm never leaving you again." Lucy handed Lisa her serviette. I thought I was gone," said Lisa. The Baumkirch tutted. "I've always known that I would do this. I just had to be certain the product could be sold." Lisa froze. Her mind was still a little fuzzy. Product. And then she realised what that meant and said, "You mean you've done it? You actually sold me?" "I mean you are legally my property," said the Baumkirch proudly. "And you are selling like the proverbial hotcakes." "Oh," said Lisa, overcome by pride. "And," said Lucy, "you're going to have some company in that toy box of yours." The hatchling sheepishly waved. "Hi." Lisa grinned and said, "Hey, mistress." You can massage my neck if you want. The Bamkush said defensively, No, I never. Lisa nodded, I know, and I think you've earned it. Besides, kind of uncomfortable on your lap. The Bamkush kissed Lisa's neck. I love you, you know, with all my heart. The Bamkush twisted the two halves of the yo-yo and pulled them apart. It's funny, said Lisa as the wire bit into the flesh of her neck. It kind of tickles. Lisa and the hatchling followed the Bamkush into the apartment. The Bamkush went to the console. The hatchling asked, So how does it feel to be a toy then? Lisa said, I imagine what it'd feel like to meet God. There's just this intense feeling of love and warmth and protection, like I will never be harmed again. The Bamkush snorted. Lisa smirked. Well, like nobody else who I don't trust on a very deep level will ever harm me again. The hatchling nodded. That sounds really nice, actually. Oh, it is, said Lisa, and it's fun. The door sprang open. The Bamkush said, I believe I made you a promise. Lisa thought for a second, then grinned. Oh. The Bamkush stroked Lisa's head. You ready? What about her? Asked Lisa, regarding the hatchling. The Bamkush said, Lucy, strip naked and climb in the box. We'll let you out. The hatchling stared at the Bamkush. I'm sorry, what? She's establishing obedience, said Lisa. Strip naked and get in the box. The Bamkush and Lisa left the apartment. The hatchling shrugged and started stripping. Nikki staggered over the threshold of her house with her shopping and kicked the door shut behind her. A week since Lisa had been reported missing, a week of guilt and interrogation, a week of feeling judged and experiencing the most intense loss. The door swung open behind Nikki, but she didn't notice and staggered into the kitchen. I told you I'd come back, said Lisa. Nikki dropped her bags and turned at the sound of Lisa's voice. Nikki hugged Lisa and said, I wasn't sure. Oh, Lisa, I wasn't sure. Lisa patted Nikki's back. It's okay, I'm here. The Bamkush coughed. Nikki let go of Lisa and saw that, yes, it was the same Victorian adventuress from the first encounter outside the club. I can put your shopping away if you want to go into the living room, said the Bamkush. Hate to see good produce go to waste. Nikki looked to Lisa. Lisa smirked. Are you asking me for permission? Nikki rolled her eyes and led Lisa out of the kitchen. The Bamkush picked up the bags and started pulling the shopping away. Nikki entered the living room with Lisa and said, I thought you and she, well, you're her toy. Lisa grinned. Oh, absolutely. I'm legally her property now. She can turn me off and everything. Nikki frowned. But does she turn you on? Well, yeah, said Lisa. She likes me. No fear of me being left to rot in the toy cupboard. Nikki groaned. Does she excite you? Well, yeah, began Lisa. The Bamkush interrupted Lisa. I think the question your lovely friend is trying to ask is whether you want to fuck me. Lisa blushed. Okay, this is awkward. Then sit down and let me handle this, said the Bamkush. Lisa sat down on the sofa. The Bamkush and Nikki locked eyes. The Bamkush watched Nikki carefully. Nikki grimaced and said, How is this any of your business? She's my property, said the Bamkush. Nikki noticeably flared with anger but restrained herself, her hands clenching and unclenching. She didn't want a fight. And my friend, said the Bamkush. I can't really explain what it feels like because, no offense, we experience vastly different levels of reality. I can tell you this, though. I don't want to fuck her and I don't want to marry her. Humans are so small. You're adorable. You're children playing at being grown-ups because you have money and internet and politics. I have watched universes spontaneously generate, subdivide, and die. I have made toys out of generals and kings. I have waged bloody warfare with my king and savaged the multiverse without realizing. And you would pick a fight because I stated a simple fact about my relationship with Lisa? Nicky snarled, "You arrogant bitch." The Bamkirsch chuckled. "I know you don't give a shit about Lisa, but I do," snarled Nicky, "and I need to know if she loves you." "Yes," said Lisa simply. The Bamkirsch gave her a worried look. Nicky felt winded. "What?" "It's not just Christ, Nicky, I'm human, or I was. I can't experience being with a toy the way she can experience loving one. I have to go with what I know, and I absolutely feel sexually aroused," said Lisa. "It's a terrifying and addicting loss of control. She's played with me and used me, and now I can't live my life any different." Nicky went to sit beside Lisa and comfort her. The Bamkirsch felt incredibly awkward. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." Lisa sighed. "You have nothing to apologize for. I love what you've turned me into and the life you've made for me." Nicky asked, "And what about me?" Lisa shrugged. "You're a good friend, and I love to make you happy, and you feel so nice, and you make me feel so nice, but I'm her toy." Nicky nodded, then said, "Let's see a demonstration then." Lisa stared at her in confusion. The Bamkirsch raised her eyebrows with interest. Nicky said, "You said you'd have the Bamkirsch show off the goods when you were finally a toy. So let's see a demonstration." Lisa grinned. Nicky said, "That's more like it. Bamkirsch, I trust you don't have a problem with this." "Not at all," said the Bamkirsch with a smile. "Lisa, get off the sofa." Lisa stood up obediently and felt buoyed with confidence. "May I?" said the Bamkirsch, gesturing to a seat vacated by Lisa. Nicky laughed. "Of course." The Bamkirsch took the seat on the sofa and said, "Honey, cross-legged on the floor between my legs, if you will." Lisa did as was asked of her. Bamkirsch said, "You're not squeamish, are you?" Nicky said, "No. Why?" Bamkirsch started gathering up Lisa's hair in a ponytail. "Well, this is more of a party trick, really, but we like it, don't we, girl?" Lisa giggled. The Bamkirsch tied off the ponytail and held it loosely. "Take this and pull gently." Nicky accepted Lisa's ponytail, and within a matter of moments she held Lisa's head in her hands. Nicky was wide-eyed with shock. "Okay, this is unusual." Lisa grinned. "Tickles when she does that." Nicky stared at her and asked, "How much does she cost?" Bamkirsch grimaced. "A lot. If you want to see her, you'll have to volunteer." Nicky stared at the Bamkirsch. "What do you mean, volunteer?" The Bamkirsch frowned and poked Lisa's nose. "Like her." "I think you better leave," said Nicky, and she placed Lisa's head back on her body. Lisa said, "We're coming back at Christmas and New Year's and your birthday." Nicky glared at the Bamkirsch. The Bamkirsch chuckled. "Don't worry, if I can convince her to let me cut her head off, I can see that we miss Christmas." "Thank you," said Nicky. Lisa said, "No, we're coming back." Bamkirsch got to her feet and said, "Honey, we've got a girl in the toy box, remember?" Lisa nodded and got to her feet. "Oh yeah, I can't wait until she's conditioned and obedient. She's going to be so adorable." The Bamkirsch rolled her eyes and said, "See you later." Then they entered the door and it shut behind them. The door was kicked off its hinges, and a man wearing a bedraggled three-piece suit with slip-on trainers, a tie tied in a Windsor knot, short, messy black hair, and a stench of death about him entered. Nicky stared at him for a moment, frozen in horror. "Your name's Nicky, right?" said the strange man. "Ever heard of a girl named Lisa Watkins? She's that average height, blonde, beautiful, and obsessed with being a toy to someone called the Bamkirsch." Nicky nodded, not daring to speak. "Excellent," said the strange man. "My name is the Farshnook. I'm an old friend of the Bamkirsch, and well, I've just murdered every right-wing fucker that contributed to getting Lisa to keep going to the Bamkirsch, and well, anyway, I'm here because I figured you might want to get away for a bit." Nicky was so amazed by the offer that she forgot to feel afraid and said incredulously, "You kicked down my door, reeking of death, say you've murdered people, and now you want me to go with you." The Farshnook sighed. "Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to turn you into a toy, and I'm not going to keep you as a pet. I just thought you might fancy a trip around the multiverse instead of getting harassed because you were the last person to see a pretty white English girl alive." He turns, irritated, and storms off across the street. Nicky follows him. He enters an incongruous, rickety wooden shed. Nicky steps inside and is blown away. The Farshnook groans. "Oh, so you're coming, are you? This is a septagonally systemic, green nothingness habitational transcender. It is bigger on the inside, travels through time and the multiverse, and it has a handy-dandy fast return switch." The Farshnook presses the switch, and there's a sound like a stammering shh. The Farshnook strides out of the seg hat and finds the friend he'd left there. "Having fun?" "Oh yeah," says his friend. "You've got to admit she is awfully adorable." The Farshnook turns to look where his friend is looking. He finds the Bamkirsh casually soaring through Lisa's neck and blue screens. "You have got to be fucking kidding me." Lisa is giggling as the saw slices her head clean off her neck. The Farshnook's nightmares come back to haunt him as the Bamkirsh lifts Lisa's head clean off her body by the ponytail. Lisa spots the Farshnook and squeals, pointing at him. The Farshnook sees the decapitated head of a woman he thinks he basically lobotomized shriek at him, and her body paint a finger accusingly at him. He runs over and punches the Bamkirsh in the face while roaring with rage. As the Bamkirsh falls beneath the Farshnook's hail of blows, she throws Lucy's head at Nicky. Nicky catches Lisa's head. "What did I miss?" Lisa sighed. "Mistress has been trying to drum up purchases. She's really keen on building up a war chest. I think she wanted to save me as a surprise or something, because I was only pulled out when the Farshnook had gone. But I remember him, and he's, well, a bit confused." Nicky placed Lisa's head back on her neck and cried, "Hey, Farshnook, you can stop punching her. Lisa's fine." Lisa approached the Farshnook and gently touched his shoulder. The Farshnook whirled around and only stopped his fist from impacting Lisa at the last second. "Shit. I'm okay," said Lisa. "I'm better than okay. I remember everything." The Farshnook's anger dissipated with relief. "You're okay." Lisa laughed. "Oh yeah, and I'm fully legit now. I'm a real toy. It's awesome." The Farshnook smiled and stroked her cheek. "Well, as long as you're happy." The Bamkirsh rose behind him and clapped a hand on his shoulder. The Farshnook didn't even look around. "Go ahead. Do your worst. I deserve it." The Farshnook said, "Bad day, huh?" The Farshnook nodded. "I've got a lot of blood on my hands. I don't need any more." "And yet she stopped you, just by being in your way," said the Bamkirsh. The Farshnook shrugged. "It'd be like punching a kitten. You just don't do it." The Bamkirsh made an approving hum and said, "How would you like to spread left-wing values by beating the crap out of dickheads and get to see that face every day?" The Farshnook whistled. "And what would I have to do to pay for such kindness?" "That is the payment," said the Bamkirsh with a chuckle. "Your reward will be at least a toy of your own." The Farshnook looked to his friend. "Go for it," said his friend. "I can always camp out in a seg hat." Nicky said, "Yeah, I could probably stick around if I know you can do that should the Bamkirsh decide to turn me into a toy." Lisa grinned. The Farshnook turned to face the Bamkirsh. The Bamkirsh punches him in the face. The Farshnook sighed and offered his hand. "Just until I've had a good enough holiday that I can head off on my own again, and I want my Lisa's memories unlocked." "We've got a deal," said the Bamkirsh, and they shook hands. Then Lucy Dance's hatchling strides over, completely naked, and says, "Caesar wants to know whether Cleopatra can be made into a toy. What should I say?" The Farshnook faints. "Did I do something wrong?" asks the hatchling. The Bamkirsh shakes her head. "Poor boy's just took it out is all." She looks to the Farshnook's friend. "Get everyone inside his seg hat. You'll be safe there. I have to try my luck." And with that, the Toymaker strides off in search of fresh prey. The end. P.S. Sorry this is long and typo-ridden. I wrote it by accident because I was distracted and needed it out of my system, and then I realised I quite like it, and now it's canon, so sorry. Also, just so we're clear, the Bamkush is absolutely a villain, and this is just her day in the limelight. So, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the audiobook of the accidentally written distraction fic, The Toymaker. And I think we're going to be seeing more of the Bamkush's adventures, because that was fun to write. And it's nice to have an evil character who is just like, I don't care. I do not fucking care. All I want is aesthetics. And then you get into the kind of character motivations behind why these people go along with it. And yeah, anyway, there will be more from the Toymaker. That you can be sure of that. Goodbye. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you could please like, favourite, comment, subscribe. Even if you dislike the video, leave a dislike. It helps. If you can watch my videos without ad block, or whitelist them so ads will be shown, that'll be a help. If you can donate to my Patreon at patreon.com/Farshnook, that is Farshnook, just FARSHNUKE. There'll be a link below the video. If you can donate $1 or $2 every month to my Patreon, it honestly will be a tremendous help. If you can watch my videos without ad block, it will be a tremendous help. Please, honestly, genuinely, it will help me so much. It will mean that I can live and produce more videos that you guys love, and produce more writing that you love. So without further ado, then I've got a Facebook fan page, which you can find by just searching Alexander Gordon Jahans. You might end up adding me as a friend by accident, but it's okay. I'll send you the link. It's fine. And yeah, I suppose there is nothing left to say except that I am fully anti-austerity. I believe that America should fucking ban its guns, and I believe that we need to legalize and tax the crap out of guns and prostitution. I've been Alex Jahans. Goodbye.